We're already live. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Very well. Shabbat Shalom, my dear friends, honorable judges, as well as everyone else listening. On this so precious, unique, which is snowing up until now. It started to snow a little bit ago. It's a soft snow. It gets into a little bit of rain, sometimes snow. It's a very strange way. Last time, it's been 10 years that we've ever seen snow here. And we are transmitting live with such a cold. That's why it's only few people today, because a lot of you couldn't come here today because a lot of the roads were closed and because of this brutal blizzard. And actually, we'd like to welcome every one of you the best way possible in this cold, wishing you a beautiful Shabbat. And in this so special occasion in which we've gone into the month of Adar, today is the 4th day of Adar, the 12th month. It won't be the last this year because there's a 13th month, which is Adar 2nd. It's as if Adar had 60 days. Of the year 5991, corresponding to the 25th of February, it's on its way out. This is the last study, the last Shabbat of February of the year 2023, and we're going to go into March. And we are transmitting live from California, the US of A. Now, it's starting to snow once again. It's rather spectacular, this ambient. If I was almost going to decide, very Christmassy like, I was almost deciding to maybe not transmit if it was impossible for you guys to come, but Lineage Roblero is present here with some beautiful flowers, with some delicious churros freshly out of the oven. So then today we'll have a super great time. Very well, what are we going to study today? Revelation 17:19, Bethuwlah part 11. Let's see if today we can go ahead and wrap up chapter 66 of Isaiah, so we can advance to other things that I'd like to develop and that we study, but we'll see how far we get today. Without any further ado, let us seek our Elohim. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks for this so precious and unique day. We give you thanks because you send rain, you send snow to us, and you make us feel alive and joyful. We give you thanks because we're waiting for you, and you have given us this so marvelous hope. And you show us in prophecies, and you show us what will happen because you have designed everything. I ask you that you bless us greatly, and that you prepare us for this new year that is about to begin within a little bit, in this Jubilee, and that really all things that we desire may be fulfilled in your precious name, Yeshua. Alleluia. The Lord has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the Eternal Truth: Ana Francisco Bar Vergara, Argentina; Everson Cañizales, Colombia; Ruth Lisbeth Lopez, Mexico; Carolina Aguilar, Chile; Johnny Carrillo, Chile; Marta Sabina Aceves, Mexico; Alberto Casillas Villanueva, Mexico; Jan Josué Alvarado Figueroa, El Salvador; Susana Piñeros, Colombia; Walter Benjamin Fitchner, Argentina; Andreina Rodriguez, the Dominican Republic; Cesar Alberto Ortega Diaz, Venezuela. And we are still on our 14th year of the Eternal Truth, so we're still celebrating. A great big hug for every one of you. May the Lord bless you and keep you and prepare you for what we are expecting soon. We have entered into the month of Adar, the month that is number 12. Number 12, name Adar, as almost all the Hebrew words that they say that it's such a holy language, and it isn't so. It's a mixture of so many other languages. But the word Adar specifically comes from the Babylonian language, which means Adaru. Adaru, and Adaru comes from Akkadian, which means Adaru, which means granary, or to tread upon. What does this have anything to do with the month? I don't know. But also Wikipedia. I've looked it up in many different places, but Wikipedia says, summing up what the Jewish places say, it says it may also have something to do with cloudy, precisely what is happening today. It's snowing and raining related to the tasks and the appearing climate during the month. It's the 6th month of the modern Jewish calendar. It might be the 6th for them, to us is number 12. Which begins with the creation of the world. And it's number 12th according to the ordering of the months in the Bible, exactly. Which begins with Nisan, obviously, in commemoration of the exit of the Hebrews from slavery in Egypt. And it ends precisely in the month of Adar. According to the Jewish tradition, quote-unquote, Moses was born Adar 7th and died on Adar 7th. And today is number 4. 120 years later. That's precisely in Jewish tradition, which might be so during this month. Very well. So then, I'm going to go ahead and skip over all of this. Today I should actually answer a question which has been there for a while. Let's see, some time ago. This is a question as quickly as possible and as respectful as possible, which is my character. But actually I'll be respectful today because it's a question that I really love. Actually loved it. And it makes you think. It makes you think about things that we talked about here in the Eternal Truth that may shock whatever person that is not ready to accept this message. It shocks them. But then the message starts to enter little by little. Listen to this. It says, "Hi, Christian, I listened to you, but you made my stomach ache and become indignant. You gave me a stomach ache and become indignant when you said that you would have said crucify Jesus." And yes, it's comprehensible, Crucify Jesus, crucify him. What would we do if we were there? What do we have to do to say crucify him? But of course, absolutely, but of course. Can you please bring me from the leather one that's next to, right there in my office, next to the lamp. So then he says that I gave him a stomach ache, and I made him become outraged. Poor thing. When you said that you would have said crucify Jesus. We, the Christians, see, there's the little problem. We, the Christians, there's the little problem. You started with the problems now. We, the Christians, blamed the Jews, another problem too, for killing him. The Christians blamed the Jews for killing him. What? Wow, absolutely wow. The Jews didn't kill Jesus. Neither did the Romans. In other words, no one killed Jesus. No one did. Absolutely no one. Very well. So then he says, we, the Christians, blamed the Jews for killing him, and now you are on their side. How can you say that you love them as long as you say that you do the same thing as they did? You're just as blind as they are. I'll continue to listen to you because you do say brilliant things. What? A blind man saying brilliant things? See, the thing is that some listen and they find brilliant things and other things get stuck right here. Or in their stomach. That's good because I made him get a stomach ache. He had an indigestible morsel. Because, of course, when you already know many things, it's typical for your stomach to ache just by listening. It's like I didn't eat anything. And if you were precisely eating something there, you could even get allergies right in that moment. Everything gets mixed. The information gets recorded. I said, something as barbaric as crucify him and you were just eating. And from now on, every time you eat that, you get a brutal indigestion. Then he's like, I'm still listening to you because you say some brilliant things. Thank you for those small brilliant things, one or the other here and there. But this is insanity. Although it may have some logic. Well, let's agree on something. Let's go ahead and agree on something. Yeah, let's go ahead and agree on something. It's either insanity. I mean, it's just that the people, that is exactly what you call, what do you call it? A cognitive dissonance. And the other word that we use in Germanic medicine, it's called an incoherence. Because you cannot get on one side or the other. It's insanity, but it makes logic what you're saying. But I cannot accept it because we, the Christians, see the Jews as evil because they killed Jesus. But then, if you were there, you would have said, crucify him. What would the Christians say if they were there? Well, I mean, it's yes. Once you face the truth, the lies inherited by our fathers play this on you. They leave you in a dichotomy, in a crossroads. They make you ill, just like that ill. You see it as completely dissonant, but in turn you see that it has some logic. It has some logic. It does have some logic, although it may have some logic. Exactly, it's insanity, but with logic. I cannot even repeat it because it would go against all that I've been accumulating in my life of a Christian, for example. Okay, let's go ahead and answer this softly because I really like the question. It's respectful and all the rest. And at least you say that I do say some brilliant things. So let's go ahead. And now this goes for all those that may be, even from the eternal truth, that made your stomach ache. Sometimes I say things that are obvious, but nobody ever told them to you in that way. So then once you listen to them in that way, wow, it does make sense, brutally so. When you hear it that way, it's as if it makes your head go, wow. If I were there, would I say crucify him or would I say save him? What's he say? But let us go to the Jewish religion. Let's go to what he had them right. And when I say he is Yahweh, the only one there is, only one alone. And this is an infinity, okay? This is all the Torah, okay? But I look for one that's well known, that we understand the concept. Who is wrong? A Christian that tries to save Jesus, quote unquote, or Yeshua. And how pretty, look at how it's snowing, okay? Wow. How's it still snowing? A Jew, a Christian, what would a Christian do trying to save Jesus? But in turn, he blames the Jews for his death. What happened if we were to take him there? Let's go ahead. First of all, we have to understand the Jewish religion because Yahweh is the one that imposed that religion. So then we have to understand it. If you want to understand this, what should we do? We have to understand this. And out of this, there's a whole bunch. I just want to read this. Let's go to Leviticus. Let's go to the Torah. Let's go to the Leviticans 16, 8 through 9. Leviticus 16, 8 through 9. It reads as follows. And Aaron shall cast lots, who was the Kohen Gadol, or the high priest. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the two goats. You had two males for atonement, one for Yahweh, for Jehovah, for Yahweh, and the other two equal he-goats. One was for Yahweh after the lots were cast, and the other one for Azazel. So two he-goats, exact ones, perfect. One was to represent Yahweh, and the other one would represent Azazel. It's actually the same person. That's why they were the same, and that's why you would cast lots. That's incomprehensible for an Adventist, but that's something that we've understood a long time ago. But that's the whole work of redemption. One part of Yahweh had to die, and another part of Yahweh had to cleanse the entire sanctuary or his religion. It's as clear as that. So then it says, and Aaron shall cast lots upon the two goats, one lot for Yahweh, and the other lot for the scapegoat. And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which the Lord's lot fell, and offer him for a sin offering. What does the Jewish religion say? What's it say? That he had to offer him for atonement, so then he had to kill him, and he had to do an entire ritual, but then he had to burn him. But then he had to kill him. The Kohen Gadol had to kill the one that represented Yahweh. He could not just say, "Nah, I don't want to kill him." Right? Yeah, the lots fell upon him, but we want to save him. You cannot say, "I want to save him." You have to say, "We have to kill him. We have to kill him." Just imagine that back in the regular sacrifices, the people of Israel would bring their offering. Let's say that it is a live animal. It could be a sheep, a goat, it could be a dove, whatever. They would bring them, and the Kohen or the priest would say, "Hey, what about you? What do you want?" "Oh, I came to confess my sin and bring this little sheep here." "What do you want us to do with the sheep?" "Slit its throat." I mean, can you imagine? "No, I bring it to you, but I don't want you to kill him." People sometimes don't stop to think about this. "I brought you the sheep, but I don't want you to slit its throat." He's got a name in all this little sheep. "I've had him since he was little, but I don't want you to slit its throat. I just brought him over just for you to save him." I mean, you'd have to be crazy. You had to slit its throat. That is the sheep, and I brought him. Priest asks, "What do I do with the sheep?" "Kill him, slit his throat, sacrifice him." So then, of course, there was no other turn of the page. So then what would the Kohen do? He would make the sinner place his hands upon the sheep and confess its sins over the sheep, and you could not save him anymore. You had to kill him. That's what they would bring him for, to kill him. There's no turn of the page. There's no salvation, nothing. I brought him over to be killed. It's a horrible religion. Absolutely decadent, absolutely bloody, nauseous, but that is the religion imposed by Yahweh. Leviticus 16:15 through 16, we'll read now, 15 through 16. "Then, after the Kohen Gadol Aaron, then shall he kill," then Yahweh says, "then he shall kill the goat of the sin offering, that is of the people, and bring his blood within the veil, and do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bullock." He had already killed another one prior to this. "And sprinkle it upon the mercy seat," that is the covering of the ark, "and before the mercy seat. And he shall make an atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanliness of the children of Israel, and because of their transgressions and all their sins. And so shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remaineth among them in the midst of their uncleanliness." So then, with the blood of the sheep, you had to purify the temple. All that represented the human body, deeply so. But in order to answer this question, you have to ask yourself, what is the Jewish religion? The Jewish religion was a religion of blood. For the forgiveness of sins, you had to slit the sheep's throat. You can't save him. And the one that would do so, you didn't look at him as an assassin. He had to fulfill the commandment. Do you understand this clearly? You do, right? The one slitting its throat was not an assassin. None whatsoever. In fact, that blood would fall symbolically upon the sinner, and it would cleanse him from sin. Now let us go to let's go. What happened with the first pope, they say, the Catholics?
They would say, Azazel.
Exactly. The one that bore the sins in the end of it all was Azazel. And he would walk out of there alive. Alive, exactly. They wouldn't slit his throat. They would slit Yahweh's throat. You had to slit Yahweh's throat. That's it. It's over. Very well. Now let us go and look at the first pope that the Catholics say, the first pope. What first pope say? Christian pope. Let's go to Matthew 16, 21 through 25. Let us see if I am crazy, because I said if I were there, I would have to say crucify him, kill him, once and for all, kill him. And if he doesn't want to die, let's slit his throat once and for all. Once and for all. Look at what he himself says, not Yeshua. Matthew 16, 21 through 25. Although the Christians may get a stomachache, it's natural because they are learning and taking lies inherited from our fathers. From the time forth began Jesus, or Yeshua, to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders, of the religious leaders, and chief priests and scribes, and be killed. What does Yeshua say to his disciples? Look, I have to suffer, I have to go to Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, and I have to be killed. That's what I came here for. Understand this. I have to be killed. And be raised. They didn't pay attention. And be raised again on the third day. Then Peter took him, like any Christian would, taken him. He began to rebuke him, saying, what does it mean by rebuking him? It means to...
I advise him.
No, it's more than that. To rebuke someone is to argue with him. That is what rebuking is, to argue with him. Of course, to advise him, but the contrary precisely. To rebuke him by saying, Lord, be it far from thee, Lord. This shall be not unto thee. Be it far from thee. Don't die. You don't have to die. Have compassion upon yourself. The Christians intend to be compassionate over Yeshua. They intend, like Peter, to say, wow, they killed him. No. They didn't kill him. He died of his own, first of all. And he had to die, second of all. So then you had to crucify him. So then Peter tells them, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. This cannot happen, none whatsoever. But he, Yeshua, he turned and said unto Peter, and he told all the Christians as well, those who asked me these things, and all those who have any doubts, get thee behind me, Satan. That is the best answer. He says, get thee hence. He says, don't die. Don't allow this to happen. Get thee hence, Satan. What's Satan? Satan is precisely someone that's contrary. Contrary to what you have to do. That's a Satan. Get thee hence, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me. You are no good, he says. Thou art a stumbling block. For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but rather those that be of men. So then what's Yeshua saying? What does he teach us? That whomever says to not crucify him, actually he's not savoring the things of God, but those of men. It's all backwards. Of course, every human being should say, crucify him, crucify that serpent, let that serpent die. Later we'll see if he'll resurrect, but let him die for now. That's what it is, and whomever doesn't say that to Satan. It's a Satan against Yahweh. Whomever doesn't say that. He says, because you savorest not the things of God, but those that be of men. Then Yeshua said unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, wow, exactly. If any man want to really be a follower of Yahweh, deny himself. This is something that has been interpreted in 10,000 ways. It says to deny himself according to the religion that you are. It means don't eat meat, don't have sex, depending on whatever religion you are. To deny yourself is to deny every desire you have, and it doesn't refer to that. It's not referring precisely to that because you have to continue on with the conversation. It says, what did Peter have to deny himself? All his preconceived ideas that he believed him to be a Messiah that was going to be the king of Israel. He believed that he was to reign upon Rome, and the last thing he wanted is for him to die. That's the last thing he wanted, for him to die. So then you have to deny the beliefs. Every Christian listening to me, in order to hear me, you have to start to deny your beliefs, because if you don't, you end up with a stupid question like this. How could you say crucify him? You have to, every one of us has to say crucify him. That son of a bitch. Of course, you're like, no, you advance even more, you go further, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is, absolutely. So then it says, deny himself, let him take up his cross and follow me. Exactly. Take up his cross and deny oneself, it means to go against the whole world. When the whole world believes one thing and you're part of a church, deny yourself. You want to know the truth, you have to deny everything that we've taught you. In the end, the people will say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers. You have to deny everything what you learned, and to continue on with the truth in every aspect. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. But what is for his sake? To understand who he is, not whoever that says Yeshua. No, not that. Absolutely, you have to understand Yahweh. You have to understand the plan that there was of what he did on this creation. I don't want to say the plan of salvation, but the plan of creation. And this jumps up. I want to complement this with something else so that this is understood even better for all the religions that follow rules, thinking that following those rules they're going to be saved. I'd like to complement with this because this is not well understood. Well, I understand it. The religious groups don't. The Jews believe that they have determined, it's not that it is so, they have determined that there are 613 or 613 mitzvot, which are commandments, 613 commandments. Some positive, some negative. Other negative ones, don't do this and that. And the positive ones is you should do something, this or that. Like honor your father and mother. Remember the day of the Shabbat. Things like that. And then you've got all the rest of the religions. You've got the Messianic. They follow, give or take those. Those that are convenient to them. They follow the circumcision like a commandment. And then you've got the Adventist, which surround their belief, the principal belief about only one commandment, which is the Sabbath. So then everyone add whatever they want to the law. And the Adventists say, because that's where we come from, most of us, that we have to keep all the 10 commandments. Those who don't keep the 10 commandments, then they will not be saved. And you didn't keep them, then you've got no other chance. Or else you go to the lake of fire, which is an eternal destruction. They're actually nicer. They say you won't suffer eternally, but you won't exist eternally. They're good people. A little more merciful they are. Because one thing is to suffer eternally, just to mention what it is to suffer eternally, than to just be annihilated eternally. That is within the merciful ones. They say, no, it's eternal death. The rest say, no, it's an eternal torture. Neither of the two is true, but of course. So then, I'd like to explain this. I'd like to explain something which the Adventists use so much, and they fill their mouths with this. Matthew chapter 5. And I'm going to read just a couple, not all the text, just to complement this answer. I thought it was necessary. Matthew 5, 17 through 18. So you understand this once and for all. Yeshua says, think not that I come to destroy, to annul. That I am come to destroy, annul the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy. I have not come to annul, he says, but to fulfill. Perfect. The Adventists say, see? When Jesus came, he didn't come to destroy the law, but rather to fulfill it, to demonstrate to us how to fulfill it. That's what they say. So then we have to follow the steps of Jesus. If he was able to fulfill it, thanks to the Holy Spirit, they say, we also can fulfill it. Because he allows us and gives us strength. And he elevates us to a level that we can fulfill it. All that is called bullshit. It's called lies. It's called lies to a level that's enormous. And the people believe this. People believe that they can fulfill the law. Wow, it's incredible. But what's Yeshua saying here? He's saying all the contrary to what the people understand that he's saying. He's not saying, look, I came to the world here to fulfill the law, and so that the law continue being in effect. Except it doesn't say that. And to demonstrate to all you that you can fulfill it, the Adventist would have you believe that he came to reply to Satan, someone that doesn't exist, and demonstrate him that you could fulfill it, since there was no human being that could have ever fulfilled the law. Then he came to demonstrate to Satan that you can fulfill it. Look at the stupidity they get to. It's inconceivable. Tell the truth, I don't even know what we're still doing here on this earth, because stupidity has grown so much that already it bores us. All the religions bore us, all the stupidities bore us. Yeshua's saying here exactly the contrary. It reads as follows: think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill. There's the word, not to annul, but to fulfill. And here comes all the confusion. Keep that word, fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass. And they say, has heaven and earth passed? No, it hasn't. One jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. Wow, so then the law is still in effect. Yes, they say it's still valid. Which of them all? Just the 10 Commandments, not the sacrifices. Oh no, hold on. He's not explaining which of them all. The law is the law. Wow. But here there's something that nobody ever pays attention to. I'll read this again quickly. For I verily say unto you, that until heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Until when? Until all be what? Fulfilled. Once again, the word fulfilled. It is so clear, this text is. Yeshua said that he came not to annul the law, but rather to fulfill the law. And he says, and the law is still valid, even to the smallest tittle or whatever. It's still valid until everything pass, until the heaven and earth still exist. It's still valid. So then nobody here takes it out, he says, unless I fulfill it. That's what he's saying. It's so clear. It's so clear. The word to fulfill, you can replace it with that once he fulfills it, he ends the law. The only one that can fulfill it is him. No one else. So then, I'll read the text again. Think not that I have come to destroy or annul the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. What's going to fulfill? The law. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till. So then it will happen. If there's a till, then it will happen. Till will means it will pass. It says it. It says as long as heaven and earth pass, the law does not pass. But it does pass until something happens, until all be fulfilled. This is enclosed in a mystery that is so clear, because it would seem to be a mystery, but it's not. There is a time that it was going to be fulfilled. And so it was fulfilled, it would end. It says, until all be fulfilled. What had to be fulfilled? His death. Heaven and earth will not pass. So then if he didn't die, the law would be valid for all eternity. See, that's his very point. He that wants to understand can understand this clearly, because it is explicit. He says, look, I didn't come to destroy the law. I came to fulfill the law. What does it mean to fulfill it? That once the owner fulfills it and he dies, the law is over. So then it's over. Completely it's over. That is the maximum secret. So then it says, I didn't come to annul it. What would be to annul it? Here I am. The law is now annulled. Okay? No. That's not his function. He had to be born under the law and die for the law without annulling the law. The law was going to be annulled on its own when the giver of the law died. That's when the law would be annulled completely, but he, without dying, could not annul it. And he didn't come to annul it, he came to die. And by dying, he annuls it. Do you understand that? It is very easy, because if he doesn't die, as long as heaven and earth exist, the law is still there. So then he starts to explain something marvelous that the Christians do not understand. They do not understand this. They don't understand it. It goes on. Now I'm going to read 21 through 32 of Matthew 5. 21 through 32 reads as follows. Ye have heard, per se, the law of Moses. Ye have heard of the law, right? That it was said unto those of old, thou shalt not kill. Of course, one of the commandments are the commandments, thou shalt not kill. And whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But of course, but I say unto you, what? Now he's going to clarify. For those who can understand this can come out from any doubts. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother, it's already a murderer, shall be in danger of judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. What is he saying with this? What he's saying is that as long as the law exists, the law is a lot finer, way past what they could even think. They thought that if you didn't kill, then you were to fulfill that commandment. Just with that enough, I don't kill. Yeshua says, you're all wrong. The law evaluates way past the action. And for the law, you don't understand this. For the law that you have, all you have to do is to insult someone so that you be considered a murderer. And he's saying this. So then he says, what happens? You don't need to literally kill someone. All you need to do is to insult. And with that enough, you're doomed to hell. The law already condemns you. So then, what's he really saying? What he's saying is the law is so strict that there's none of you that are not already doomed. You're all doomed. The whole world is doomed. Even for things that you think you haven't done, but you've already done. So then when an Adventist, the Pharisees, not to mention those, but when an Adventist comes and says, I follow the law, he doesn't follow it. He doesn't. He cannot follow it because not even the 10, not even that can he follow. If you were to understand what Yeshua's saying, another point that clarifies. Let's move on. It reads as follows.
Yeshua himself couldn't even fulfill it.
Oh, that's a given. Yeshua was insulting everybody.
The Pharisees told him, you don't keep the law.
Clearly so. Oh, clearly so. He didn't fulfill the law, but of course, he did not fulfill the law. 23 says, therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there remembers that the altar would be the temple, and there remembers that thy brother hath aught against thee. So if your brother has something against thee, is that you offended him somewhere. How? He has something against you. And when it says brother, it's not a family brother, but anyone in the community who's got something against you. Leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Wow, this is what I taught last time. Elohim does not forgive sins that were not offended towards him. If you offended your brother, that's an offense. I don't want to call it a sin, it's a fault. But Yahweh says, you're still at fault if you stole something from him, if you insulted him or whatever. He says, and you bring here worship, that I could care less. Go and fix things with your brother. Don't come and tell me, no, I did this to him, forgive me. No, let him forgive you first. He clearly says it's not that I said it. Yahweh doesn't forgive you offenses that you did towards others. They have to forgive those offenses. You have to ask them to forgive you. You have to give forgiveness to others who offended you. He says, leave your offering there and go fix things with them. So then after you fix things with them, reconcile first with your brother and then come out and offer thy gift. Agree with thine adversary, your Satan. Who's the adversary? It's the one that you've offended. That is your adversary. The one that you offended and became an adversary. Agree with thine adversary. This is something that is not taught in Christianity. They do whatever all types of sins, and then says, go and kneel before God and ask him to forgive you, and it's all fixed. It doesn't matter if you stole from this guy, you broke his car, or you crashed against your neighbor, but you didn't tell him anything so as to not pay for their car. And I'm saying stupid shit here. It doesn't matter if you stole hours from your boss at work. No matter all the things you did. Doesn't matter. You just come and I'll forgive you. That's a lie. Yeshua himself tells you. Yeshua says, go and agree with your brother soon. He says it. Soon, whilst thou art in the way with him. Oh, you're still alive. This is the way. This is the way here. We haven't gotten to the judgment. Once you die, you get to judgment. But here, as long as you're in the way, we're advancing in the way. He says, as long as fix things quickly with your brother, quickly, lest at any time. Who's the adversary? The adversary is the one that you offended. Lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast in prison. Verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out of there. He says, nobody will forgive you. Thou shalt not come out of there till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. He says, until you pay for the very last thing. It's better that you fix things now with your brother. Now, it's a lot better than to go to jail. What is jail? It's hell. The purifying hell. Precisely, that is why last time I taught you, God doesn't forgive you any offense unless it's done to him. I'm going to say it this way. He has no right to forgive things that you did to others. If you stole from me, don't ask God to forgive you because you stole from me. No, pay me what's mine. And that's it. And then you don't even have to ask God to forgive you because you've already fixed it with me. You need my forgiveness, not that of God's. That of God's is out of this. Those from the outside are not valid. They don't count. Fix things with your adversary. He says it with your adversary, not with me, with your adversary. Fix things with your adversary. Christianity is against this. The blood of Christ covereth me. All my crimes, my sins, all that has been whitened. Bullshit. That does not exist. That is dog shit. Actual dog shit in doctrine. Nothing has been free if the one that you owe him to didn't free you from it, period. It says, verily saying to you, it says, oh, but I asked God to forgive me, but that was the wrong one. You have to ask the other guy to forgive you, the other guy, until you pay for the uttermost farthing. Yeshua continues, he continues, in case somebody didn't understand this, 27. Ye have heard that it was said, the law. Here comes the law. Moses wrote this. Ye have heard that it was said, the Torah says, thou shalt not commit adultery. Another one of the 10 Adventists. Another, hold on to this. You say you keep Shabbat. Hold on to this one. Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. They're all fucked up. He says, I'm sorry. The commandment says, what does it say? Thou shalt not commit adultery. It says, but actually, I say unto you that is just the surface of the law. You're all doomed because I placed a desire in you that you cannot take out, that at some point in time in life you will covet the woman of your neighbor, or at least one that's not yours, whatever. You committed adultery with that. And don't come and argue to me, Yahweh says, that, no. You said no adultery, but in your heart you did. So then what happens with the adulterers? They have to go to hell. So then who keeps the law? No one keeps the law. Yeshua is demonstrating that the case of the law was written to condemn all the human beings, irredeemably so, and that nobody can fulfill it. That's what Yeshua's demonstrating. So then for that reason, he has to do away with the law. And he did that on purpose. What he's saying is that no one in the world can ever keep that law because it goes even against our very nature. So then, once we break it, period, over. So then Yeshua says, and of the law, it cannot be altered, not one jot or tittle. So then why did I come here to fulfill the law? And the law is valid until everything is fulfilled. And what does it mean that everything is fulfilled? That the Creator is dead. That's what cannot be. The Son of the Creator It cannot be a substitute. It has to be the very same creator. The giver of the law dies. The law is dead. That's the only way. Yeshua is demonstrating to us, and he demonstrated to them and demonstrates to everyone that no one can say, I fulfilled the law, because he would be a hypocrite. Is you think you fulfill it? No, I tell you that the law says that in your secret desire of your heart, that you turned to see a woman that passed, and you didn't know she was married or not, but she had a good ass, and you had to look at her, because without, even when you noticed you were looking at her, the anatomy that are not yours, you just adulterated, committed adultery. You can kick and cry and say, oh, I didn't have sex with her. That's it, it's over. You're fucked. To hell. But it was normal. Off to hell with you, 'cause she was married. I didn't know she was married. Oh, I'm sorry. Off to hell with you. That's it, it's over. So then what is the point? How many times have you sinned? Don't even tell me. How many times have you sinned? You could not even number them, not just once in your life that it happened. You could not number them. Not even number them could you do so. Wow. Brutal. And with this, he says, I've got you all in my hand. Yahweh the Creator says, I've got you, all of you in my hand, and no one can escape from my law. The only thing I can do is to come and fulfill the law. And what does it mean to fulfill the law? To obey all the law? No, because not even he obeyed it. Just what Leslie was saying, he didn't even fulfill it. But he did die.
The Pharisees told him,
Exactly.
you're breaking the Sabbath.
The whole entire time he didn't fulfill it. In the desires of women, he doesn't clarify. He doesn't clarify that. But if they had a human nature,
And it's not only about women, just by coveting their animal,
just anything.
or their clothing even.
Anything. Just to call him a fool. He said about Herod, go tell that bitch. He called her a fox, a female dog, called her a bitch, a woman that was not Jewish. He was extremely racist. He was a racist Jew, and I can demonstrate it with the Bible. In fact, another woman would come and call unto him, and it's as if he were deaf.
The Pharisees blamed him of both not fulfilling the law, but teaching to break the law.
Teaching to break it. To break it. Teaching to break it, and that poor guy he healed, he told them, pick up your bed in Shabbat. What? Exactly. And to top it off, he teaches to break the law. And to top it off, the guy forgives sins. I mean, it's one on top of the other, one on top of the other. He never fulfilled the law. No one can fulfill that fucking law. I'm not saying it's bad. No one can fulfill it, period. No one can fulfill it. And precisely something was slipping my mind. Oh yeah, that Yeshua was racist. Yeshua was racist because he came as a Jew. And the Jews are the most racist people in the world. It's not the what race, it's them. Did you know that in Israel, for example, in the modern state of Israel, if you're born there and you're not an Israeli, you're not, and you're living there, you could be Palestinian or Argentinian, but if you're not Israeli, your baby is born in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, or wherever else you want, you go and register them to say, no, this child is not born here. That's the only place where that takes place. They say you have to have both mother and father to be Israeli in order for you to be Israeli. We could give a fuck if he was born here in Jerusalem. We could care less. We don't give a fuck. Your son is a nobody. He has to have both a father or an Israeli mother, in case you didn't know that. And that, not to mention all the other cases, I don't want this video to be taken down. But Yeshua, he was racist. Yeshua was super racist. There's one lady came to talk to him, and it's as if a dog were talking to him. Wouldn't look in her direction until the disciples said, hey, kick her out already because we're sick of her yelling and yelling for you to heal her daughter. So he then got up and said, what do you want? What do you want? Don't you know that I came for my people, the chosen ones, the children of Israel? The rest of you I could give a fuck about. What the fuck do you want? I came to the lost sheep of Israel, he says. Not the lost sheep of you. You're all wolves, I give a fuck, but you're all dog shit. The fuck do you want? You're breaking my balls here. And the disciples too, they're sick of you. What do you want? And the lady throws herself at his feet and says, I know that I'm not of the chosen people. know that I don't have any ancestors that crossed the Red Sea on foot. Says, like, I know that you don't even want to talk to me, but she says, I am a dog, yes. You are the owners of the world. You are. That's what she said. Don't you know that even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table? We're the masters of the world. They are. And he was one of the masters of the world. Jesus was racist. Just like that. Super racist. The Christian's going to write to me again and says, Jesus loves everyone. Don't be a son of a bitch. Did you ever read the Bible? A group of Greeks came in and disciples said to receive them. He says, no, I don't want to receive anybody. I don't care unless they're Greek. I don't receive Greek people. In order for a guy to say, I was sent to the lost sheep of Israel, that's it. That's it. It's over. Just imagine. No, I don't want to give you an example because it's gonna sound ugly. The example's more than clear. Jesus was racist. Like any other Jew, that's the way he had to come under the law, and he had to fulfill that law. And so then he treated that woman like a dog. It's not that she said, no, don't say that. Imagine if before he says, I know that I'm not from the eternals, that I'm a dog. What would we tell him? You're no dog, you're a brother. Yeshua accepted that he was a dog. And he said, wow, what faith have you? Go on your way. I done that as a favor to you just because you accepted that you're a dog. Or else I wouldn't have done shit.
Just imagine how Yeshua would have replied to this little Christian talking here.
Oh, not to mention this fucking... No, I don't want to offend anybody. This good Christian friend of ours. Christian, how would Yeshua have replied to you?
He would have replied in a very awful manner.
Would have replied in a very awful manner. But why did I bring up the story about that Yeshua was racist? Because it enters into that precisely he insults the human being. Brutally so. And I could give you many examples, but that's not the point here. Okay. So then, what's he say? So then what does Yeshua say? For ye have here, ye shall not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh upon a woman to covet her, he already committed adultery with her in his heart. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. This is just as drastic as this. He says, if your right eye, and he says it very clearly, offend thee, pluck it out. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if the right hand offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Right, of course, I hear that, and before him I would say, exactly. For that reason, crucify him. Let's move up the date and crucify him. Exactly. No, I mean, he's given it as an example. You just cut with this one, continue on with this one, cut with this one, then what are you going to do? And then this eye, and then the other eye, so as to not see anything. And then the tongue, because the tongue is the worst member. Exactly. The problem is in human beings, not in the members, in the brain. Because the members respond to what we... In the heart, it's obvious. The brain, you have to take it out of your brain. But what is Yeshua teaching here? An insanity. He is teaching that the law is impossible to fulfill. That's why he's teaching all the teaching. I don't understand what you said.
No, I was just laughing with Brian.
Oh, okay. So then that right there teaches, Yeshua teaches that the law is made to fuck up human beings. That it doesn't matter, you can end up cutting one hand, the other, an eye, no matter, but you're going to continue to sin. You have no exit unless he fulfills the law. Do you understand that? That is the whole teaching. The people take this backwards. And now move on to another one. And it talks about hell, right? And not that your whole body be cast into hell. It's also been said, here's another one which I, in my ignorance, look, the thing is that once you take out your beliefs, you deny yourself your beliefs. That's what it is to deny oneself. we were still not completely denied in ourselves, and we still had a basic teaching about the law that this, you have to do this or that way. Today I'm going to declare something different. I'm going to declare something which goes, Yeshua, I've already seen, Yeshua gave already many examples. He gave the first one, he said, about the first example he gave was about insult to killing. Second example was about looking at women, and it goes also men and women, looking at women. Of looking at women, it could also be coveting her, like Leslie said, to covet whatever thing. Obviously, off with you to hell. But now he gives another example. And this, I have to say it very clearly, because I've said it many times. The contrary. But now I'm going to say it in the sense that Yeshua says so. 31. It hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committeth adultery. So then, I've always taught that in the Torah, and that Yeshua is really saying that it is better to not get married, if that once you get married, you're not going to stay together until to the death. Now, having understood this, I turned this around. Having understood this, I understand that Yeshua is clearly saying that he, by annulling the law, he allows all types of divorce. If your matrimony is not working, as we've said it many times before, due to Germanic medicine, then get divorced. Not just because if you see that you've tried and it doesn't work and it won't work, then just get divorced. Before, that thing about divorce was prohibited, unless it was because of adultery. But no, actually what Yeshua's saying right now, as always what he's saying, that this is part of the law that is annulled, divorce. And why do I dare say this? Because it's part of the same thing. Like I've told you that story about my uncle who got divorced and then later got married, and they never wanted to give him the Adventist membership. For him it was everything, all salvation, everything. He could never get baptized or anything. What a stupid thing. It's stupid to be Adventist, but he didn't know that. But how stupid it is to deny or think that they can deny salvation due to adultery, due to a divorce. I believe that humans are free to get divorced. That about that which God has united, let men not separate. Well, yeah, God united them, but in what sense? He blessed them, but actually man looks for others. And if you don't find a match that's perfect, and that later you notice that it wasn't for you, are you doomed to hell in life here? Then get divorced if you think it's going to cause you all types of problems. That is what I say. We have no problem with that, absolutely none whatsoever, zero. Other religions do. Okay, so then we go back to the text that read as follows. In Matthew 5:17. Think not that I come to destroy the law. I came not to destroy it or annul it, or the prophets. I am not come to annul, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. So then who can fulfill it? People relate fulfilling with the end of the world. No, it's not with the end of the world. Fulfilling is when he died. When he died, then that's when it's fulfilled. And I've always read it, just in case there's a Christian listening, doesn't comprehend my words. It clearly says it in Daniel chapter 9. Daniel chapter 9 says about the 70 weeks. 24 says, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins. How do you put an end to sins? Because this was the moment that was prophetic in order to bring a Mashiach, that was to put an end to sin. That that precisely happened when he came. How does he put an end to sin? This text, people turn it around because they don't want to understand it. It's not a text for it to be concealed. It's too clear. The Mashiach was coming to put an end to sin. The Christians say, how did he put an end to sin? Well, because now he has opened the door, and so then when you sin and you ask him to forgive you, and due to the blood of Christ he takes the sin away, that is not to put an end to sin, the personal sin, for us to repent and ask to be forgiven. No, you have to ask of everything there. The text says to put an end to sin. To put an end to sin is that sin no longer exists. And what is sin? The transgression of the law, the Torah. Yeshua demonstrated that the Torah, you are going to transgress it whether you want to or not. Even with your thought, you're going to transgress it, and there's no turn of the page. You've already transgressed. So then, the only form of doing away with that was to put an end to the law. And by putting an end to the law, what do you put an end to? To sin. That's it. And to make atonement to iniquity. He doesn't put an end to iniquity. He just atones it. There's a difference there. To put an end to sin and atones iniquity, which means that all iniquity is forgiven. What means also is that all the iniquitous have to learn. They have to learn. They are not doomed to an eternal death nor an eternal torture, but rather they have to learn, and they're all going to live. That's why it says to make atonement for iniquity and bring the everlasting justice. I mean, it's magnificent once you want to understand it. When your mind can understand it, then you're standing there and you say, crucify that son of a bitch. Crucify him. If precisely the representation of Yeshua and Barabbas was the representation of the lamb, of the two lambs. One was to go free and the other was to be for Yahweh. Who was for Yahweh? Yahweh himself. The other, free. The other weren't free. And what did the people have to say? Crucify him. Let his blood fall upon us and upon our children. But of course, absolutely. Now, I want to clarify this concept.
So then, when the people said, let his blood fall upon us, was fulfilled, but not in the way we saw it before, that at 70 years...
Exactly.
That at 70 years, they were going to be annihilated, but rather...
It was fulfilled in a sense of forgiveness, for the blood to fall upon them and upon the whole humanity, the children, everything. That's what happened. But I want to clarify this point. The Jews had Jesus killed. They didn't kill him. They had him killed for whatever other motives for which they had him killed. They had him be killed not because they saw him as Yahweh to do away with the law, but rather had him be killed because they didn't believe he was the Messiah. And they said, this guy is an imposter, a blasphemer. That is clear. But that doesn't matter, the motive. If I were there, I wouldn't say he's a blasphemer, imposter. It is Yahweh himself. Crucify him. Do you understand? The motives that if we were there would be different. The motives are crucify him. We can't go and try to save him, but rather to make him be crucified. Exactly. So then, the motives, they, due to their blindness, because in the question it says, I listened to you, but you gave me a stomach ache and be outraged, and you said that you would say crucify Jesus. We, the Christians, blamed the Jews for killing him, and now you set yourself on their side. How could you say that you love them while you said that you do the same thing that they did? You're just as blind as they are. No, I'm not blind. They, being blind, they fulfilled the prophecy by I, with my eyes well opened, I'd say crucify him either way. Both blind as understanding ones that say he's a fake, and I said, no, it's Yahweh himself, crucify him. Because that's what he came for.
Last subject, you explained how if their eyes were opened, they
had to kill him.
They would not have wanted to kill him.
And top it off with that.
Because they would have seen that he is their God.
As soon as they saw a glimpse of that, they wanted to crown him as king. And so then he would leave, exactly.
Remember how last subject you said that he blinded them? So then that's why...
Exactly. Then it says you're just as blind as they are. No. Absolutely not. He says, I'm still listening to you because you say some things that are brilliant. Well, I hope that this is a brilliant one. Maybe not. For you, right? But this is insanity, although it has some logic. I hope that you find more logic in what I just explained. Whosoever knoweth the eternal truth would say, crucify him. Very well. With that minor interruption, let us go into the subject. Shema Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh is one. That is what Yeshua says unto the disciples in John 8:31-32. Then Yeshua said unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye were to remain in my word. There you have it. There you have another part of Jesus the racist. Whom did he tell? The Jews. Not the Gentiles, the Jews. Then Yeshua said unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye, Jews, believe, remain in my word, then ye shall be truly my disciples, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Precisely, this is part of the truth that we have to know. But it's all concealed. Proverbs 25:2, glory of Elohim is to conceal the word, yet honor of the king is to search out the word. Malachi 2:17, ye have wearied Yahweh with your words, and ye say, in what have we wearied him? In that ye say, whomever doth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such he delighteth, or else where is the Elohim of justice? That's why here we've got Mr. Penguin. Mr. Penguin, he's still super upset, because they all came very bad dressed. No one came, aside from Lineage Robler, nobody else came. It says, what's going on? With just a little snow, they get scared. Yes, they do. Just a little bit of snow. Yes, that's the way they are, because they're from California. What you want? So then when things get worse, how are they going to... I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. It's like just a little snow like this, and what are we going to do with the hamburgers? We're going to eat them. We're going to save a part, but the rest we're going to eat at least 2 each. Says, but I'm still rude. Yeah, you continue on being upset. They don't come, you're still pissed. There you have, he's super pissed off because, to top it off, aside from them dressing badly, they don't come just because a little of a blizzard. Come on, wow. So then we cry out, where is the Elohim of justice? And we've gone into month 11th. Wow. 2 more months, and we enter into the new year. What'll happen? I don't know. It's most likely that nothing, but oh well, it excites us. It excites us to just think about it, that something will happen. As an experience, nothing absolutely happens. Okay, moving on. Oh, I wanted to tell you that the spectacular invitation from Leslie, the ring picture, I want to tell you that I got the first order of 40 rings. 40 rings, of which 9 of them were donated by anonymous members of the Eternal Truth towards other members that I'm also not going to mention, towards other members that received that gift. So then, out of the 40, 31 were bought for themselves, but also some of them were gifted towards others so that they can have one too. And I thought that it was a phenomenal gesture, fantastic. They asked me to not mention the names, but I wanted to mention them because it's a good gesture, and maybe you'd like to do the same. If you'd like to gift someone, you can let me know, and then we'll see. Now, you also added something impressive, and you deduced that this ring that I have here from LVE here, with a terrible line that I have next one that is watching over the ring. So, and here I have the cross of crucify him, just like that. I even like the cross even more. Crucify him. Crucify him. There you have it. Crucify him. They deduced that this ring, represents the alliance of being engaged with Yahweh. I found that to be fantastic. The marriage ring with Yahweh. What beauty. To top it off inside, it says Yahweh Ekhad. It's as if the husband gives us the ring a wedding ring and of the eternal truth. They said, this V here, it almost looks like the victory of the eternal truth, the eternal victory. I like that. There's going to be a group that will have a victory, and it's this group. It is the eternal victory, the eternal truth. And so many words are formed of the eternal truth. I was meditating this week, how marvelous is this word? I was going to write it over, but it's occupied. For example, the word love. I'm going to write it here. Let's see if we can see it. Wow, with this light, we don't see anything. Let's see right here. The word love, which is love, something a lot more beautiful in English, has the words LVE. The word love has the word LVE. You already know this. Lots of signs that say love is the most thing that it looks like is LV, and love is love, and God is love. It doesn't just have that word. It also has another word, which is this one. In English also, precious, this word. Let's draw it well here. And this word could be pronounced in two different ways because it means two things. That's how English is. It is the word live, which is to live, to live. And the word live, the same word, is pronounced in two different ways. To live, which is to live, and live, when we are live, for example. So then the word to live and alive. Live and live, same word. And love. So then the eternal truth in English means what? Love, live, and what else did I say? Live, and I said to live, and we are live. We are living and love and life. All those words. Live means live, but to live comes from life. It is to live. So then I said, wow, this word LVE has so many things that are so marvelous, absolutely marvelous. And that's precisely the characteristics of God. God is life, and God is love. That is what the scripture says. Where is the original life? God has it. And what's it say? That it is the nature of God, love. So then in the word LVE, we've got the word life, of living, the life in itself, just like the Father has life in himself. He has given life to his Son, a life in himself, his Son. He has given life in himself to his Son. So then I said precisely that word has the characteristics of Elohim, life and love. I found it to be fantastic, and to have it that expressed in a ring, and the ring, it's like a wedding ring, spectacular. I loved it. So then we go to the text in the invitation. Who hath heard such a thing, or who has seen anything like it? Does an entire country, is it begotten in one day? Is an entire nation born in one day? As soon as Zion travailed, she gave birth to her children. Very well, we're going to study that again on hour 17. Let's go ahead and see how many likes we've got. Right in this point in time, we've got 250 likes, 296 people watching. If you forgot to give us a like, be generous and give us a like. Give us a like, thumbs up, and maybe a comment after the video ends. Very well. Let's see if the likes go up, because it's stuck at 250. Didn't want to go up. No one forgot then. Very well. Okay, 251. Perfect. Somebody maybe forgot 251. If you forgot, then give us a like. 259. Perfect. Very well. I'm going to read Revelation 12 because we're in Bethuwlah. Revelation chapter 12. In the book of the people of God, and there appeared in heaven a great sign. A woman dressed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars upon her head. She was pregnant, and she would scream in travail because she was about to give birth. And there appeared in heaven another sign, an enormous red dragon, like fire, with 7 heads and 10 horns. And in every head he had a crown. His tail drew a third part of the stars in heaven, and he cast them upon the earth. The dragon stood before the woman that was to give birth, so as to devour her child as soon as it was born. The woman was born that was to rule all the nations with an iron rod. But the Son was elevated up unto God in his throne. And the woman fled into the desert, where God had prepared a refuge, that she be fed there during 1260 days. Then a war broke up in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the same counterattacked with his angels, but they were defeated and cast out from heaven. And so was that enormous dragon, the old serpent called Devil, and Satan was cast out. The seducer of the entire world was cast out upon the earth with all his angels. And I heard a powerful voice that sounded in heaven, "Salvation has come, power and the kingdom of our God, and the sovereignty of his Messiah, for the accuser has been cast out, the accuser of our brethren, the one that day and night would accuse them before our God. They themselves have defeated him, thanks to the blood of the Lamb and the testimony that they saw of him, because they loved their lives not up until death. Let them rejoice, heaven, and those who inhabit therein, but be woe unto you, earth and sea, for the dragon has come down upon you with all its fury, knowing that it has but a little time. The dragon, when he saw that he was cast upon the earth, he went to persecute the woman that had given birth to the man-child. But the woman received the 2 eagles' wings to fly to her refuge in the desert, where she had to be fed during 3.5 years, far away from the serpent. The serpent spewed after the woman as a river of water, that they would draw her. But the earth came in the aid of the woman, opened its mouth, and drunk up the river that the dragon had vomited. And the dragon, wroth with the woman, went to fight against the rest of her seed, against those who obey the commandments of God and possess the testimony of Jesus. Very well. I haven't explained absolutely anything. Every one of you should already know this by memory, this explanation. We've given it many times, but I love to read it to you and review it, since we've never studied it before so much. And now I think I want you to get sick of it even. I want you, every time that we read it, you clearly see the explanation in your mind. That's how you activate the brain. Very well. Now we go to Isaiah 66. Yahweh saith as follows: Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Wherefore is the house that ye shall build unto me, and where is the place of mine rest? Exactly. Yahweh says, I could care less the temple, care less. I want to rest in a body. That body is that of my wife. Where is my wife? That is a question. Where is my wife? Where is it where I will rest? Where is it? It's all mine. Where is it? And I've explained this many times. Mine hand, I am the creator of it all. Mine hand made all things. And that not all things were, says Yahweh. But I shall look upon he that is poor and humble of spirit. It is concealed. Who is poor and concealed? Poor of spirit, that trembleth at my word. That's precisely those that know me, those who fall in love with me, those who understand the word, those who are a king to penetrate under the seal of the word. 3. He that sacrificeth an ox, he says, I don't want any more sacrifices. You don't understand. He that sacrificeth an ox, he's like Moses says in the Torah. What I ask in the Torah is as if you were to kill a man. He that sacrificeth a sheep, as if you were to slit a dog's throat. He that offereth up an offering, as if you were to offer a swine's blood. He that burneth up incense, as if you were to bless an idol. And because you chose your own ways and your soul loved your abominations, I will also choose for them confusion, and I shall bring upon them what they feared. For I called, and no one answered. I called, and they did not hear. But rather they did that which is wicked upon mine eyes, and they chose what displeases me. And what displeases him? And that's all the sacrifices and the way of empty religion with rites, rituals, and to top it off, sacrifices. And it doesn't have to be the sacrifices of blood. It could be the sacrifice that you do. I sacrifice myself because I don't get married. I sacrifice myself because I'm going to do this and that. Fasting and 10,000 other things. 10,000 other things. Everything is as if you were offering up swine's blood. Yahweh hates those rituals. This goes for all the religions, and here it is very clear. The religion in the moment, the Hebrew one, the Jewish one, but also for the Christian one. Hear word of Yahweh, ye that tremble at my word. Ye that tremble at his word. Hear this, ye that understand the truth, ye that are kings, and you penetrate under the covering of the word. Your brethren, all their brethren, so then they worship precisely the same Creator. Your brethren, which hate you and cast you out for my name's sake, said, Yahweh be glorified. Exactly. Our brethren, who are they? The Jews, the Christians, the whole world, basically. What did they say? Yahweh be glorified. But he shall show himself for your joy, no matter how much they worship him, no matter how much they pray unto him, no matter how much they kneel before him, no matter how many things they promise and they speak about tongues, and how many times you go to church. He says, he shall show him for your joy, and they shall be confounded. Another things that must have been a shock, but he hasn't wrote to me about that. We said we don't worship Yahweh, we worship ourselves. We say the Son of Man is be glorified, exactly, and we're waiting for that glorification. Yahweh wants more glory. No, we'll give him glory later, but right now the Son of Man must be glorified, because this is until the Son of Man be glorified. So then who has to be glorified? The Son of Man. The Son of Man. And who's the Son of Man? A group of kings that understand the prophecies and that have issued judgment. Very well. I've already explained that. It's such a great text. 6. A voice of terror comes from the city, the voice of the temple, voice of Yahweh. This is so marvelous. That rewardeth his enemies. This concealed. This is the word of horror, is the people yelling. The voice of the temple. If there's no temple, there's not going to be a temple. It's talking about the end. What temple is he talking about? The temple that doesn't exist? No. What temple is he talking about? Talks about the bride. That temple that he said, wherefore is my temple? Where is that place where I could rest? Oh, Yahweh says, look, I'll have to make it myself. I'm going to make it be born on the 6th day. And on the 6th day, I'll make it be born. So then, there's no temple. This is the end of times. There's no temple, a real one. Of course, there's a real temple. It's his bride. It is the temple of the children of Elohim, which is his body. And the voice of the temple is the voice of Yahweh. So then, in the moment in which Babylon receives the reward will be being issued to her. In other words, the children of Elohim, and the voice of children of Elohim will be the voice of Yahweh himself. That is what he's saying. It's impressive, this text, magnificent. I had already explained it. The voice of her from the city, the voice of Yahweh that gives reward to his enemies. 7. Before she travailed, she gave birth. Before the pains of travail came, she gave birth a son. Spectacular. I've already explained this, and I'll explain it again. The prophecy was to be fulfilled, that it be a true prophecy. It had to be fulfilled exactly like the prophecy says. So then it's all symbolic. But the woman had to give birth before the pains of travail of the world would come. And it's precisely in the period of before the cup of wine 19. Of the cup of wine 19, you already understand what that is. Before the problem that surprised and enclosed the whole world in their homes and everything that came afterward, before the son had to be born. So then, at some point in time or place in the world or spread out through the world, was born what is considered to be the children of Elohim, the man-child that's to rule the world. This has already been fulfilled. If we are wrong, completely wrong, and that it is us and we're nobody, for example, either way, there has to have been born before that little problem. Before that little problem. And not just that, but they should know it, and they should have prophesied it and notice it by now. I said it in order for you to understand it, that there is no other, not even a religious group, nor a movement, nor a ministry, nor any individual person that understand this. It says, before she travailed, she gave birth. In other words, the woman was pregnant, but before she travailed with birth, before the pains would come, the normal ones of the woman, she was to give birth. Just like that, all of a sudden, before she travailed with the pains, she gave birth. Before she got the pains, she gave birth a son. In the Jerusalem 2001, it says, before being in pain, she gave birth. Before being in travailing of birth, she gave birth a man-child. It had to be fulfilled just as that. Before 2019, there had to already have been born the man-child. 8. Who hath heard such a thing? Who hath seen such a thing? Exactly. No one. No one has understood. No one that ever has studied the scriptures has understood something as somebody calling themselves the sons of Elohim. Tell me, what Christian think that the Messiah is precisely a group of men? What Christian believes that the sons of Elohim, the Lamb, the Son of Man, is already here? So then it is applied to everyone. Who hath heard such a thing? Just insanity, complete rubbish. Who has heard such rubbish? Who has seen such thing? You've seen it, absolutely. Shall the earth conceive in one day? Oh, so the one that gives birth is the woman, yes. But actually, it'll be the earth itself, all the creation. Shall the earth conceive in one day? Shall an entire nation be born in one day? For as soon as Zion, but of course it's not that earthly Zion, it's talking about in nothing but parables. For as soon as Zion travailed, she gave birth her children. It's not already one child, it's children. It is very clear, the scriptures, it's no longer a son, then children. For why? Because when it talks about a symbol, it reduces it to one person. This is to say, the bride. The bride is not a woman, and a unique one. It's a group. Every Christian believes that. But they don't understand the Son of Man. Then they said, no, this one is only one person. No, they don't understand it. The Son of Man is a group of people. It is a nation. Shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion, who's Zion? Bethuwlah. Bethuwlah is Zion. I've already explained this, but I hope that this time we are done with this chapter. Zion is Bethuwlah. As soon as Bethuwlah travailed, she gave birth to her children. When? It had to have been before the earth would enter into pains of travail. So then she had to be born in 2018, and they were born in 2018. Exactly. Absolutely marvelous this text is. 9. I that caused to be born, saith Yahweh, right? Shall I not cause to be born? If I am the one that gives, I'm life. I am LVE. Yahweh says, I am life. I am live. I am live. I'm the one that gives life to every human being. I that give birth, shall I not bring forth? Saith Yahweh, I that cause to beget, shall I impede the birth, saith your Elohim? Absolutely, if he is the one that begets. Rejoice with Jerusalem, and rejoice with her, all who love her. Fill with joy along with her all who mourn for her. Okay, that part, that this goes directly hand in hand with Bethuwlah. When he says, I cause to give birth, will I not cause the birth to come through? Yahweh saith, I that cause to be begotten. If he causes to be begotten, the question is, Bethuwlah. John sees a woman dressed with the sun and sees her as pregnant. Who begat that woman? Who begat her? Who made her be pregnant? The question is one, Yahweh. That's why Yahweh is our father and Yahweh is our husband. Exactly. So then we were pregnant by Yahweh. And Yahweh made us understand that we are his sons and also his wife. But the one that caused to beget was Yahweh. But who did that? Not the dragon. The dragon, evidently. The dragon represents, in that case, we know that Yahweh directs him. He's the dragon in top category. But that dragon represents Babylon in this case. That dragon does, precisely. But Yahweh is the one that begets. That's why it says, will Yahweh not beget? If he's the one that begets, he's not going to beget. We're the children of Yahweh, the sons of Elohim, and also we are the bride of Yahweh. So then, Yeshua says, I that caused to be born, should I not bring forth a birth? Saith Yahweh, I cause to be begotten, shall I impede the birth, says of what? Of that new nation. Rejoice with Jerusalem. What is Jerusalem? It's already a symbol. It's not the earthly Jerusalem, not the Jerusalem that is in the Middle East. It's already Bethuwlah, which turns into the sons of Elohim. Rejoice with Jerusalem, and rejoice with her, all who love her. And fill yourselves with joy along with her, all who mourn over her. 11. That ye suck until ye be satisfied of the breasts of her consolation, that ye drink up in delight with the shining of his glory. Okay, Jerusalem, or Zion, or Bethuwlah, or the bride of Yahweh, already revealing that it's the bride of Yahweh. This group of people will have the only truth, the eternal truth for the whole world. And the whole world will have to, as a son, which drinks milk from his mother's breast, that is how this eternal milk of eternal truth will be given. It's the true milk. Anything else is poison, which Babylon gives. So then Yahweh says, this new nation that is born in one day, that has never existed before, that nobody has even heard. It's a new nation. I'm going to call it Jerusalem because it's a new nation that she be identified in to confound the whole world. And oh, it's over there in Jerusalem. No, absolutely not. It's new. It's a new Jerusalem. It's a new nation. All the world will suck from her breast because she will console and teach, delight with the shining of her glory. So then she's going to have a glory never before seen, that ye suck and be satisfied from her breasts of consolation, that ye may suck and ye delight with the shining of her glory. Absolutely magnificent. Magnificent in every way. Magnificent, magnificent, magnificent. 12. For thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then shall ye suck, ye shall be borne up upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees. Yahweh still places the figure that his wife, Bethuwlah, that New Jerusalem, will be like a mother that will bring every person that only inherited lies from his fathers, that never understood a thing, will bring them as their own mother, per se, will adopt all the orphans that their parents lied to them symbolically, and will set them on her knees. What a beautiful image. Set them on her image, that they may be pampered. Will give them milk, the truth, and pamper them, every one of them. Because Babylon, the only thing they gave was lies. So then, this is contrary to the prostitute of Babylon, will act as mother. Because thus saith Yahweh, behold, I extend upon her who's she, Bethuwlah, Zion, the bride of Yahweh. Peace like a river. What is peace like a river? It's a peace that never ends. A river goes, runs, and it never ends. It's peace like a river. Also, waters mean peoples, nations, multitudes, and tongues. So then the peace of the whole world, a peace that's permanent, eternal. He says, I extend upon her river like peace. And also river means life. When there's river, everything around the river gives life. The river brings life on a permanent basis. Symbols of life. And the glory of the nations, not just anything, not a little tithe that is difficult for you to give and you don't give. No. It says the glory, not the rest, not change, not a little gift. No. The glory of the nations like a flowing stream. It's not that a little bit of glory comes. It comes like a flowing stream. So then rivers, it's a symbol that it is headed towards her. All the glory of the nations. It means that Zion becomes the center and the capital of the entire world. Wherever the bride of Yahweh is, which is Bethuwlah, which is Zion, a new nation, has nothing to do with that dog shit Israel, that dog shit land over the nothing to do fact. It will be where the bride wants, or where she's already prophesied that she'll be. But in that point is where the capital of the entire world is made. And the entire world has an overflowing river brings what? It brings the riches of the nations. Does she need it? It's not that she needs it. But the people in their gratefulness will bring the best, the very best that they have. Because it's the very best that they can give. That is the glory that this woman will have, Bethuwlah, the bride of Yahweh. It says, behold, I extend peace to her like a river.
Retribution for the milk she will give.
Exactly. Retribution for the pampering, the milk, and all that. And the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then shall ye suck, ye shall be borne upon her sides and be dandled upon her knees. In the Spanish DHH, it says, Isaiah 66:12. For I, the Lord Yahweh, saith, I will cause peace to come upon her, upon Bethuwlah, upon the bride, like a river in the richness of the nations as a flowing stream. She, the bride, Bethuwlah, the son of man, the sons of Elohim, however you want to call him, she will feed you, whom all those nations shall take you upon her arms and caress you upon her knees. Because it'll be the leader, now the leader is a woman, Babylon, a prostitute, the mother of all prostitutes, but the true mother shall appear, which represents Eve, which represents the bride of Yahweh. Let us imagine, like they all imagine, the Christians and the Jews, because this prophecy is by them, it's in Isaiah, is the last one of Isaiah. The Christians and the Jews, they all believe that it's Jerusalem that it's talking about because it mentions it. It's not that they believe it mentions her. That Jerusalem will be the mother from which the light, the milk shall come, or the pampering, the justice to all the world, the capital of the world. So then, and the Christians obviously believe it, but of course. Let's go ahead and imagine that it's Jerusalem. That dog shit Jerusalem over there. What does she have to give suck, Jerusalem? Tell me what. What does she have to offer? Because this has to be fulfilled at the end of times. She does have something to give. She has Torah, has blood, because they're very bloody, and has only lies. That is what Jerusalem has to give. Torah, that we don't even want to see it. It's annulled, fulfilled, discarded, ended. What else does she have? Blood, because it says it's the city of blood. It says that Jerusalem is a great Babylon, and it's all lies. So then there is nothing good that come out from there. And all the Christians think that it's Jerusalem. That's why they say, bless Israel. All the Christians, that's incredible. It does not enter in my mind, doesn't enter. How do all the Christians believe that by blessing Israel, they obtain a blessing? They are blessing.
They don't give milk, pampering, nor truth.
She gives Torah and blood.
Doesn't give anything.
She does. Problems. Right, exactly. They give doses. They're just issued out many more formats and for many other sicknesses. And otherwise, they become modern. All those companies are from Jerusalem, obviously. So then they have something to give, have doses upon doses. They have things to give because it's a prostitute, the worst kind. If it were only a prostitute, no, she's a murderer. It's the city of blood. Yahweh calls her that, the city of blood, where all the blood of all the saints was found, those who die upon the earth. From where? Jerusalem. So then what does she give to feed? Nothing. You see how it could not be that Jerusalem? It's talking about another Jerusalem in a different geographical point. And who's he talking about? About a group that was born in the year 2018. They must have been born exactly prior to the world going into travailing. Wow, it's all upon another, all one after another. And if Jerusalem were Christian, the Christian Jerusalem, not Jewish, what does a Christian Jerusalem have to offer? Another type of milk, Trinity, eternal hell, and all bunch of fucking stupid shit and lies. That's what she has to give. If the Christians were that Jerusalem, they have Trinity because they are Trinitarian. A God in three persons, a God. What else do they have to get? An eternal fire. So then you either obey him and Jesus forgives all your sins, or you go to eternal fire. That is what she has something to give for the nations. All garbage entirely. Absolutely entirely. Who can only be that Jerusalem? Who can only be that Jerusalem? It has to be a real love, in other words, love, and it has to give life. In other words, live. Only LVE, the eternal truth, has that to give. It has the truth, and to top it off, it has love, because they want to save the whole world. They want to feed the whole world. It's not condemning you to an eternal fire or to disappear forever. Only LVE can be that Jerusalem only. And only LVE has noticed that they were transformed after 2018. That she was born into something else, and purification began during 1260 days was fed, that ended in a sentencing, even without noticing. I mean, what else? It's impossible not to rejoice with Jerusalem. It's impossible. 13. At least those who understand this, right? 13. As one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem. The whole world. The whole world. Yahweh says, as one whom his mother comforted, the whole world will be comforted by Jerusalem, by the eternal truth, as if it were a mother. That's why she represents Eve, the bride of Adam. I mean, you have to have in your mind all the things that I've taught you, because they all go click, 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 click. At creation, Yahweh said, it's not good that Adam, man, be alone. I'm going to make him help meet. And then is Hava born, or Eve. And Eve, it says that she's the mother of all human beings. Who is Eve? Eve is the bride of Yahweh. Who's Adam? Yahweh himself. Out of he himself, of his own nature, he made himself a helpmeet to his own height. To his own height. He was already tired of being alone, and he made himself a helpmeet to his height. And she becomes the mother of all human beings. This is this very same prophecy. Jerusalem, the eternal truth, becomes the mother of all human beings. As him whom his mother comforted, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be in Jerusalem, the mother, LVE, be comforted. Look at how it says in the New Living Translation. Isaiah 66:13. New Living Translation reads as follows. I will comfort you there in Jerusalem as a mother comforts her child. Who will comfort? Yahweh comforts through Jerusalem, through his bride. But of course, 14. And when ye see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like an herb. What does this mean? These bones shall flourish like an herb. And the hand of Yahweh shall be known towards his servants, and his indignation toward his enemies. Well, it is difficult to understand this text at a simple glance. What it means is that our bones, which are dying, mortal, will reflourish. In other words, they'll be reborn. It's talking about, at that point in time, a life that we don't even have now, immortal, shall be had. It's not that it can. It talks about that, but it also talks about that actually it could be a part of a resurrection. And ye shall see, and your heart will rejoice, and your bones shall reflourish like the herb. It could be that the bones of certain people already dry and below the ground, and they will be born as if it were a herb. You can give it wherever meaning, but it's so positive a prophecy from Yahweh, whatever it might be. And the hand of Yahweh shall be toward his servants, and his indignation towards his enemies. Okay, we are not his servants, but yes, there is 1/3 that are servants. But of course, you have the bride and you have the servants. So then, the hand of the bride, which is the hand of Yahweh, will be benevolent and known unto the servants, which will stop being servants. I hate that word, but it was the word that Yahweh uses in the scripture, even though we know that it is concealed. It is the followers, servants, call them whatever you want, but they will not be treated as servants, but is to differ them from the bride, and his indignation towards his enemies, the 66.6, or the 66.6%. There's the two-thirds of the earth. 2/3 of the earth. They will not understand them, so then it's the enemies. And to make being enemies, they will have to go to correctional, but not forever. first I'll rest, and they won't even notice, and then after rebuilding this earth, you'll come back to life, and they will be corrected in different stages with different things that don't matter now. The only thing that matters now is that they will live, and they will be good. They will be known, spectacular. No, nothing else matters. Very well, 15. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire. This is impressive. With this, you notice that this prophecy, but of course, there's no need to say, but I'll tell you, has never been fulfilled. So then all these prophecies, absolutely every single word, since it starts, which is, where's the temple? Where is the place where I can rest? Where is the place of where you will build unto me of my dwelling? Exactly, it's all the same thing. A final prophecy. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. But of course, those chariots of Yahweh, that whole work is done by the bride. In the New Living Translation, it says, look, the Lord, in other words, Yahweh, is coming with fire, and his swift chariots roar like a whirlwind. He will bring punishment with the fury of his anger and the flaming fire of his hot rebuke. Exactly. He comes, a stage comes where 2/3 of the earth will die. 2/3 of the earth die. 1/3 is left upon the earth, and for 1,000 years this earth shall be rebuilt. All that technology, the good ones, will augment it. The bad ones will reform it and make it good. Because 6,000 years weren't live here to live like cavemen. I was listening this week to some Spanish guy that was talking about, very coherently so, and he was saying that we had to go back, and the problem with human beings. Problem with human beings is that we had to go back to our roots, like his grandfather lived, who had lived in the field, had a parcel, a place to plant, had his little animals, and he lived that way, was happy that way. He lived the whole day working on with his animals and plants, and didn't depend. He was off grid. He has his own private water supply, everything. So then that's what we got to go back to. I have a thought. I have a true thought that's very different to that. I do not want to cultivate anything, because every time that I cultivate, I don't enjoy it. It doesn't turn out the way I want, and it cannot feed me. I've tried it many times, and it's something that I'm not good for. If I were good for cultivating, I would not be speaking to you. When Yeshua came here, he didn't cultivate shit. He wasn't just racist. All he liked to do was talk. Because they're going to say, oh, because Jesus was a worker. What do you mean he was what did he work in? What did he work, this guy? No, because he was a carpenter. Did you ever see him make a single chair? Maybe he worked because with the Father he had to work. But the people say stupid shit. Even the poor people that did work made him stop working. Guys were fishermen. He says, don't fish anymore. Lord, that's how we earn. He says, I'll make you fishermen of men. And that's how we'll earn. Don't you worry, or else I'll make cash appear from. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry, because we will generate silver. And he did generate silver, the guy did. But of course, when the guy left, what did his workers do? They went to fish again. Because it was their profession. So then I hear some guy, which it makes logic. We have to go back to the field. We have to go back to planting. I would rather be dead than to have that type of life. I can't live that way. I can't live without the technological part. They say, no, we should forget about computers. But if you are listening to this message simultaneously, live, LVE, you're listening to today, it's thanks to the fucking computers and the dog shit technology, which you say it's dog shit. Thanks to that, can you hear me? simultaneously in the whole world. So then you don't achieve this with a shovel. The people that live in the field is the most ignorant of them all, because when I hear that, I say, that is not my
Profession.
no, no, no. No, it's not my desire. My goal, my desire. Imagine the new land. We're going to have all of us a land, a plantation. And from sunrise, there's no electricity because it's bad. It's radiation and it radiates you. I mean, just imagine. So then, since the light irradiates, let's cut it off. Let's go back to the non-light time because we'll be healthier, we'll be happier. Because we have to go to sleep when at sundown like chickens. And when the sun rises, we have to go out. Because that is what's healthy. He says, God helps those who rise early. And they put that into your mind.
Gotta get the water from the river.
Oh, but of course, I mean, if it comes to you, you become too lazy. If you have a pipe giving you water, and to top it off with something that warms it up, oh, no, no, no. You want water, you have to go to either a well or a river. And you go there to wash and to get water and to go to the bathroom also. So then we go back to that type of life, primitive, and it's healthier. I'd rather live.
The very same primitive people wanted to better themselves and they started to...
See, that's what happens. That's what happens. The people do not understand.
Those primitive people moved to the city.
I mean, of course, he made money to buy himself field. What people do not understand is that the cell phones do radiate you. They can kill you and all that. But that technology is used by them wrong. Because you cannot live without a cell phone anymore. Once you're used to using it, you are already... It's very difficult if they were to take it out. I mean, I almost don't use it. I'm talking about communication that there is. But basically, it's internet. So then, could you have the same technology without it hurting humans? But of course, if they want to hurt us with that technology, it is because they tried to hurt us. It's not that 5G or 6G. It's precisely the best, but precisely it hurts us. No, of course not. If it's even worse, 5G, look at it. The thing is to fuck up your life. If they were to want things to be less hurtful, could they do so? Of course, they would not add things to things, right? Why did they add things into your body? All they want is to hurt you, but it's not the technology, you idiot. If I had to go out and live in the field, to live like a person lived 200 years ago, and a hermit 200 years ago, where almost there was no electricity, where there was no power of any kind, there was no gas motors, nothing there, everything, exactly. Tell the truth, for me, that would be a hell. A living hell. I cannot call it any other thing, a living hell, because my mind has already been used to faster things, to most immediate truths. The people say it's just that the people want immediate satisfaction. Yes, we want immediate satisfaction. I have to wait so long for no, nothing. If you like to plant, then plant. I'll give you the best things for you to plant. If you don't like to plant, then don't plant. But that is what, not that it worried me. Actually, the people think that the solution is to go back to what is the time of old. That's not the solution. I don't want to go back to the times of old at all. I want to have even more technology. I want to get to the technology of making portals and crossing over and coming out another place.
If there were a portal today, people could have showed up.
Right, if there were a portal, the snow would not have been an impediment for them to come. Exactly. If there were a portal, but there is no portals, but if there were, wow. And once you invented planes, who wants to go on a donkey from here to Argentina on horseback? For one, it was invented, we become stupid. We think that the solution, that technology is killing us. No. I'd like to make better robots with a super intelligence to do all the things I want to do. for him to say, go and mow the lawn there. So then the robot goes, that doesn't get tired, uses different type of energy, and makes the guy happy. It's a robot, makes him happy. No, I have to do it. Or else I'd have to hire someone that won't exist in the future. That won't exist in the future. I have a company, I need employees. Go fuck your mother. What do you think I'm gonna work for you? Nobody's gonna work for anybody. Unless we want to do community work, we're going to all make the house for this guy.
Now they're going to ask, and so then what would you do? Well, we would make the robot, and we would enjoy.
Exactly.
Well, the robot does the things that we don't want to do.
Free energy for all. The robots can sow and harvest. Let's start with that. So then, you do not understand what technology is with a good government. You understand technology with a bad government, but with a good government, wow, it's incredible.
For example, a car used to be a chariot, and then the most primitive models, now up until the ones that we have today, which is something incredible. And so all that is the creation of men, how they perfect themselves.
See, it's not government, it's man himself that wants to better themselves. The whole time we're inventing things. How do we better this? How do we better that?
So that they must think, and so what are you going to do? Well, we're going to enjoy ourselves in things that we like. We read, we study, we take the time in doing things that are pleasurable.
Exactly, as well as productive. Productive, absolutely. On a permanent basis, we want to better everything. So then, it's not about the not using technology, but even more technology, but good technology. That is more than clear. Once your mind opens to all of this, you can no longer go back. You see it as stupid, boring, a senseless life, like little animals. That's how you see it. In fact, the people don't notice that our mind has developed even more through the use of these things. That is absolutely my opinion, and it is the truth. It's not just my opinion, it's the truth. Very well. Where were we here? And I digress because actually that is what we will expect, what we will do on the new earth. What we'll do. The work that you'll have, don't you worry, because those who are bride of Yahweh, it's a group that will put order and direct the rest of the people. So that all this may grow in that sense. Very well. We are in 16. 16. For Yahweh, I read number 15. I'll read it again just in case. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. 16. For Yahweh will judge with fire, and with his sword will plead with all flesh. This prophecy is clearly a last final prophecy that talks about the judgment of every man. For Yahweh will judge with fire, and by his sword plead with all flesh. And the slain of Yahweh shall be many. It is more than clear, this prophecy, absolutely clear, that it's a prophecy about the end of the world. Look out, it says in Spanish DHH, yes, the Lord will issue judgment with fire. He shall judge the whole world. How many? The whole world. With his sword, and shall kill many. Exactly. When it talks about Yahweh, actually Yahweh works through his bride, through Bethuwlah, through the Son of Man, through the sons of Elohim. It's all titles of Elohim. It's not that he comes to do this, but the bride does this. Look at how it says in the Torres Amat in Isaiah 66:16. For the Lord, surrounded with fire and armed by his sword, shall judge all the mortals. How many? All. All. This is from the end of time. And it shall be great, the number of those whom the Lord shall kill. It'll be great. How great? Well, 66.6. 6.6. 2/3 of the earth shall be killed. Don't look at it as if killed forever. Just put to sleep until we fix the whole earth, and then 1,000 years later, they are resurrected and reformed. 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens, this is talking about different religions, behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh. Of course, he's saying it in a literal way. No, he's saying it in a symbolic way. Swine's flesh, of course, it's disagreeable to me. Even if it's not the Torah, can I eat it? Yeah, I can do whatever you want, but to me it's nauseous. There's a reason why Yahweh prohibited it. So then those are the things that I say, yeah, must have some vibe that I should not ingest. It should have something that if he said, it's not good to eat it, I am free to eat it now, but I don't eat it. I don't eat it because I understand and I choose that it says, look, this is not the best food. Leave it for the entire world, but my bride, I want her to eat it, something superior to that, so then I know which are the superior meals. That is why it says, symbolically speaking, that those who eat swine's flesh and abomination and mouse shall be consumed together, saith Yahweh. But of course, all the nations that do abominable things. What do I call swine and mouse today? Dozes. I call it dozes. The dozes of the pharmakeia. It's like swine and mouse shall be consumed together, for I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come the time that I will gather all nations. That's spectacular. Yahweh says, I know their works, the works of every person, of every nation, of every people, and their thoughts, how they think. And the time shall come, it says in the future, at some point in time, and it shall come to gather all nations. How many does it say? All of them. And tongues, not just nations, but all the tongues. And they shall come, but that it be in the future. 1,000 years later, time shall come, but now I'll put them to sleep. But time shall come, he says, time shall come. There will be time for everything. Time shall come to gather all the nations and tongues. And when it says all the nations and tongues, all the ones that have ever existed, not just the nations that exist today, not the nations that existed when this was written, but rather all the nations of all history of earth, and all tongues of all history of the earth. So it means all the human beings that have ever lived on earth, and they shall come and see my glory. But for now, he says, I'm going to put them to sleep. I'm going to cut them off from the earth. Before, he says, they shall be cut off. They shall be cut off. But a time shall come, which means that in the future, more specifically so, 1,000 years later, as Revelation 20 says, 1,000 years later, I will gather together once again all the nations and tongues, and they shall come, and they shall see mine glory. Look at how it says in the New Living Translation. It says, I can see what they're doing and know what they are thinking. So I will gather all nations and peoples together, and they shall see my glory. Exactly. I don't even know why I read it to you, because it's not as clear as the one from the Spanish RV 1960, because it says, for I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that it will gather. I like that. The time shall come in the future. The time shall come for that. The time shall come for what? To gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. No one understands this. Not even the Jews understand this. Not even the Christians even less understand this. The Christians think that an annihilation comes and that's it, it's over. Yahweh here says, against all doctrine from the Christians, gather all the nations that they see his glory. How do they understand this? Wow, I mean, Christianity, it's so nauseous to me. It's so nauseous that that's why I express myself with disdain about them, because it's despicable doctrine. Once you exit from there, you see them, it's despicable for them to want to send people to an eternal hell. And if you don't want to do things that they say, you'll be annihilated. When it says that there shall come a time in the future that Yahweh will gather all the nations, all tongues. And what for? That they shall come and see the glory of Yahweh. And what is the glory of Yahweh? It is the glory of his bride, and his bride. which is the one that will resurrect all of them and teach them and give them milk and pamper them. Wow, all this, the Christians miss out on all this. 18:19. And I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations, to Tarshish, to Pul, to Lud, that draw the bow, to Tubal and Javan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard of fame, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare mine glory among the Gentiles. I love this, because it says, and I shall set a sign among them. Let's go ahead and read it in the Spanish Torres Amat. The names that I've just mentioned, Tarshish, Phut, Lud, Tubal, Javan. I have no explanation now that's precise if it means anything else. For me, it just means pagan peoples that never understood a thing. Look at how the Torres Amat reads this. And I shall raise amongst them a sign of health. And out of those who were saved, I will send unto the nations of the other side of the sea, to Africa, which is Tarshish, Africa, to Lydia, which are people that draw the bow, to Italy, that are Catholic. I added Catholics. To Italy, so then Italy was Tubal, or one of those. Italy, to Greece, and to the isles afar off, that have people that have never heard of me, neither have seen my glory. And they shall declare my glory among the nations. How marvelous, absolutely marvelous. Marvelous. So then all the nations, and we're talking about nations that no longer exist. Not today's nations, but peoples that have already disappeared. This people have 6,000 years. And they all must have the glory of Yahweh published to them. People that lived, they were from tribes. They were born in Africa, died in Africa, never knew anything else about just a healer, the witch doctor, any type of pagan religion they had. And all the rest of the countries that it mentions here, the most remote islands, all of them, and it makes it clear for you. Hey, Christian, you say if you don't accept the blood of Christ, there's no salvation for you. The Christians get upset when they say there's another way of saving. You said, no, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes unto the Father. It's not for me. Jesus said it. If you don't accept Jesus, you don't have life. And I tell you, if you don't accept the eternal truth, you have no life, Christian, because that Jesus is the eternal truth. Oh, now they're going to get a heart attack, a stomach ache and all. That Jesus is no good for you to obtain eternal life. The one from 2,000 years ago is no good for you, because he annulled the law, he annulled sin. But that's not the Jesus that you have to follow. You don't even know him. If you try to follow the Jesus, you follow the Son of Man, triune God, and you don't know who it is. When Yeshua said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, no one comes unto the Father except by me. He didn't say about him to his disciples. He did say that, because disciples were idiots, stupid idiots, that did not understand that he was the Father. So then he says, I am the way, life, and the truth. No one comes into the Father if it's not through me. So then they said, show us the Father and it's enough. He says, but how many times have I been with you and you have not known me, that I am the Father? Give or take words. He says, if you have seen me, you've seen the Father. How do you say, show us the Father? Exactly. When you understand that the Yeshua of 2,000 years ago was the very same Father, why did he say, I am the way, the truth, and the life? No one comes into the Father except by me, because that's the start of the path. But at the end of times, the path, the truth, and life is precisely the eternal truth. And he says so, the path, the truth, the eternal truth, and life, which is also live, live, love. I am the path, the truth, and life. The prophecy that we're studying says that he takes Zion, that she gives suck to all the nations. We've just read it. Notice then who is the path, the truth, and life that takes them to the true God. It is the bride. So then, that title, that phrase that says, I am the path, the truth, and life, is applied to him in his time to bring us up until here. But the entire world, it's a prophecy that will have to apply it. No one, absolutely no one, not Christian or Jew, nor Muslim, nor pagan, can ever get to God if it's not through his bride. No one can get to God. No one. Because in order for that, you have the judges. That's why you have the sons of Elohim. That is why they are the only ones that are left alive. No one can get to Elohim if it's not through the bride. I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. No one draws near unto our husband if it's not through our means. It's the way it is. And it'll be fulfilled. And that's how it'll be fulfilled. So then it says, and I will set a sign in the Torah Samat, and I will raise amongst them a sign of health. And out of those that were to be saved, I shall send them to the nations of the other side of the sea, to Africa, to Lydia, which are places that draw the boat, to Italy, Greece, the isles of the most remote places, people that have never heard of me. The Christians, I forgot about this, the Christians say, if you don't accept, I forgot this, if you don't accept Yeshua, Jesus, there's no salvation, because the only way is Jesus, Christian. The only way is the eternal truth. There's no other way, not even for you. No matter how much you believed in Jesus, no matter how much you kneel or pray, as long as you don't accept, and you're going to have to accept the bride will take you unto the Father. Everything you've understood, have misunderstood, you'll die. That's the way, you'll die. No one that resurrects will resurrect directly seeing God. No. They will resurrect and seeing the bride. They're going to have to be trained by the bride in order to see God. Because no one has access to God if it's not through his wife. That is the work of the sons of Elohim. This is the work of Eve, the mother of all living beings. It is the work of that man-child that will rule all the nations with a rod of iron. That is the work. It's marvelous. But, oh, Christian, this contradicts your doctrine. It says to people that have never heard of me, nor have seen mine glory, those people will receive a sign of health. They will be trained by someone. You see how they are saved even though they have never even heard about Jesus. And you teach that only through the blood of Jesus. It isn't so. It isn't so. In fact, all the blood of you that you prayed and you think you had is no good. No good. All your Christian life kneeling of a servant, going to churches, studying your sabbatical, of studying LGY, your catechism, speaking in tongues, none of that, all the fasting, none of that is good. None of it. It's like what? Like swine's blood. All that, and the prophecy says so. It's like more sacrifices, like killing a dog. All the things you've done, complete filth to God. Why? Because because the eternal truth is the path. The eternal truth is the life. The eternal truth is the truth. No one has access to Elohim, the Creator, if it's not through the eternal truth. And the free of the world respond, I have to read it, to the great nation, LVE, Argentum, greetings, but of course whom? The free of the world respond. One of you published somewhere, they told me about how it sounds kind of like an anthem from Ecuador, something like that. Don't be a clown. Read what the anthem of Ecuador says. It's stupid shit. If you don't see this, if you were to compare the Argentinian anthem with that of Ecuador, I'd have to understand that you haven't understood any word that has come out of my mouth. The Argentinian anthem is something unique. No one has this lyrics. No one, don't even say that it's like it. It's dog shit. Any part of that fucking anthem of yours, whichever. Let's see if you understand what I'm saying. It's dog shit. It's dog shit, your anthem. That from Ecuador and all the rest. But you said stupid shit. Listen to this divine lyric. Hear, O mortals, the sacred cry. Liberty, liberty, liberty. Hear the roar of broken chains. See enthroned the noble equality. Upon the face of the earth rises a new and glorious nation, a crown of laurels upon its head, and a lion surrendered at her feet. From one pole to the other resound of the fame, the loud bugle, and that of America, the taut name. Repeats, O mortals, hear. Their most worthy throne have they opened. The united provinces of the South and the free of the world respond. The great Argentinian people we salute. Be eternal the laurels that we knew had to earn. Live crowned with glory, or swear to die with glory. There's no anthem that has that letter. Don't compare dog shit with this anthem. Wow. You get me upset because you say, our anthem is like yours. It's nothing like it. Any anthem of yours is dog shit. And you piss me off because you degrade. You don't know what poetry is. You don't know what inspiration is. Wow. What were you going to say?
I wanted to say that anthem shows empathy towards the whole rest of humanity. And that's exactly how an Argentinian...
Exactly.
That's exactly how an Argentinian is. An Argentinian shows complete empathy.
Completely. It's pure poetry, divine, inspired poetry. How can you compare it with any stupid anthem? Oh, it's just things that are like yours.
They're such nationalists. All of Latin America
Exactly.
is nationalist.
Yes, they have that nationalism that they have not understood. That Yahweh comes to look for a new nation, but a special one with an Argentinian touch. There's a reason why he raised this group, an Argentinian group. There's no turn of the page. And the free of the world respond unto the great Argentinian nation we salute. 20. Why do I read this? Because the Bible says, and I shall read amongst them a sign of health. A sign of health. And what does the anthem say? The Argentinian anthem, not that from Ecuador or Mexico or Colombia. No. The Colombian anthem is not even understood by them. What's it say? It says, what's it say? It would seem to be taken out of the Bible. It says, I will raise amongst them the sign of health. And what's it say? And the free of the world respond unto the great Argentinian nations we salute. That signs, salute. Wow, marvelous. Marvelous. Be eternal the laurels that we knew how to earn. And those who know how to earn them, obviously. 20. That's what, before writing something and compare things, think. I want you to think, well, I'll tell the truth, I don't know. I could care less if you get upset at me. I could care less. It's their IQ. They start to defend their nations. Yahweh did not choose a Mexican angel. He did not choose a Colombian angel. He did not choose from Nicaragua nor from Brazil. He chose what kind of an angel? An Argentinian. He needed that personality. So then everybody says, oh, no. That's not my lesson. It's not my fault that I was born in Argentina. I have the privilege of having been born in Argentina. It's not my fault. I have the privilege that Yahweh was pleased with that way of speaking, with that culture. He was pleased tells you, I mean, in order for you to understand,
It's very meaningful because they could determine that we're nationalists, and it isn't so.
I recommend that you watch, if you want to understand a little bit more about the Argentinian culture, there's a Venezuelan guy called Schwartz, kind of his last name. Javier Schwartz is a Venezuelan, very chévere and everything, Venezuelan, and he talks about, he went to go live in Argentina, and he talks about the Argentinian culture, and talks about the Argentinian myths. I mean, it makes us laugh our asses off, because he says, I've never seen this. The people don't understand what an Argentinian is. It's a bug completely out of this world, different to everybody else. I'm Venezuelan, I'm chévere, but when I met an Argentinian, they were all psychologists. He says, I mean, you don't understand until you do. That's if you understand them.
They don't understand it because they weren't raised that way.
Exactly. I mean, just watch his videos so that you understand such a different culture that Yahweh made. If this offends someone, I'm sorry. Yahweh made it so to extract what he wanted. This is not by chance. He tells, well, amongst all the things that he says, watch it. I mean, you'll laugh it off. He says the 20 things I don't understand about the Argentinians. For example, he says that he's used to, in Venezuela and all the countries that he's visited, that when you tell him something, they don't go deep into what you're telling them, but also tell him about his own. You see that I have this little thing, and I liked it. What any other Latin American says, you say, oh, I also bought this. A Latin American says, I tell it to you because of your experience. He says, I tell something about my children, and immediately in your mind programming, you say, oh, my children also, okay? I also took them to school, and they told me they were this and that the whole time. An Argentinian doesn't do that. You tell him something, and he starts to go deep into what happens to you. And he's talking about your problem. It doesn't take you to his own personal life. He talks about what's happening to you. Oh, but what you told him doesn't tell you, oh, no, that also happened to me. You know that there's no competition there. If you understood that, fine. If not, he explains it even better. And an Argentinian has a lot more psychology, but I mean, it's cultural. I cannot explain it to you. You could not understand it.
It's precisely because we care about the other.
That's how they dominated. That's how they taught us when we were little. We care about others. We care about what others say. Try to help the others. The Argentinian culture, and you know this, all of you that come here, we don't get up from the table until 5 o'clock. And if it's a nice day, we stay until 9 p.m., and sometimes till 2 a.m. Latin America don't have that. You eat quickly and you leave. An Argentinian does what's called sobremesa, which is the culture about the asado. Let's make the asado. It's a whole ritual. We drink something, we joke around, we talk while the asado's going on. It's a whole ritual. It's not about eating the asado. It's about the whole ritual of friendship that we have, and we talk, we drink something, we have fun, we eat. We do the sobremesa, which is the after table, coffee. All of you eat and leave quickly. People have invited me to eat, people that are from Mexico, from other countries. They've invited me to eat. I get to the table, and they don't even sit with me. How uncomfortable they made me feel. It's happened to me many times. Don't feel uncomfortable if it was in one of your homes, one of you listening to me. Those listening to me and in places not listening to me, they've invited me many times. They invited me over, and it's like they want to entertain you. They've already eaten, or they eat afterwards, or they eat elsewhere, or whatever. But they invite you over to eat. We don't want that. We don't want you to serve me. We don't want you to make you feel like I came to a restaurant. We came to eat with all of you, to talk with you, to have fun with you. And wow, that you don't see in other countries. You're going to say, in houses like that, that's a lie. That's a lie. You'll see it's in Argentina only. You do the sobremesa, you talk after eating, you chat. Heal people. You think that you chat with your significant other. You think that you talk with your children. You don't. You know what you talk with them? Hi, did you do that? Fine, good. Don't do that. I've told you. You're an idiot. Do this and that. And the kids, the Argentinians, they're talking just like I'm talking with you now. With philosophy, that I didn't like this, you didn't like this, let's criticize this guy or that guy about the situation. That conversation does not exist in Latin America. It doesn't. I want you to understand this. Maybe you think that you talk at home, not even close to what an Argentinian family does. In Argentina, it's not like, oh, you discuss about everything. No, we talk about everything. About everything, but at a level that's different than that you're used to. And you couldn't understand it until you see it. Until you see it. So then the parents talk with the children. They don't ask them, how was it? You tell them, the kid comes and says, I like this girl, I don't like this one, this with the. It's all a conversation. But dialogue comes, dialogue goes all day, the whole time. That's why I tell you that you cannot understand unless you go to Argentina and live how they live in Argentina. That's how we were raised. In my house, it was conversation continuously, a continuous analysis of every situation. And even when you bought something, if it was good or not, because Argentinian will always argue with you whether he's right or not. He's going to show his point of view. That part that develops your brain to an analysis that allowed me to understand the Bible to a level a lot higher than with the superficial, because you live it, you breathe it. It's about everything. It's all analysis and the word. I mean, to open what the word says, to argue. They've told me at home, they've told me, people that have come to my house, you spend all day arguing with the Leslie. I said, no, you didn't understand. I'm speaking with her, Leslie. Says, but you argue. No, we don't argue. We're in dialogue.
It's a dialogue because each one defends his own opinion.
Exactly, and we'll defend it, and we'll talk.
Maybe we can agree to disagree, and then we can say, well, I just see things differently, and that's it, it's over.
Those of you that have come to my house have seen this. In fact, the whole world that comes to my house, they've changed their way of being completely. Don't tell me you haven't.
They might think that that's what you call fighting, but that's being 1,000 times better.
They haven't understood. They haven't understood it because they haven't seen it. Of course, they see it. It's fighting, but it's not arguing like the ones that you have. It's a dialogue.
Their problem is that they get upset.
Exactly.
I don't think that you could even explain it.
I can't even explain it, tell the truth. I see it. I see how the couples talk here. They just talk about the food, this and that, and that's it. It's over. They don't have anything else to dialogue with. That's it. It's over. That's it. It's over. Don't talk about anything else. We were born in homes in which you would talk even about going to the bathroom. Why did you take so long in the bathroom? I mean, you may find it comical, but we talk about everything. Yahweh chose that culture. The culture in which you talk about everything to give his last message.
We just haven't seen it. Not in Mexicans.
Never, ever. I could tell you hundreds of Mexicans from Mexico City who were my best friends, who had better culture than the rest, look better than the rest. Not even close. In fact, not even the Cubans. I've had Cuban friends. They would invite us over to give joy to their house. They were Cuban dentists. We weren't anything. But no, as long as they could have a chet in their house there, it was the joy. It was absorbing. It would absorb us because they like to learn about our culture that they've never seen. It was always silence, minimum conversation. I don't know how to explain this to you, but it's a different conversation. In order for my children to give their opinion and speak that way, they had to be impregnated that way, just like Leslie was and I was, and our children in that culture. But
that culture only happens when a person actually cares about the other's opinion and to fix their life. Help them out.
Exactly.
Help them out and to find a friend in us.
Exactly.
And that does not exist in other cultures, but we have to teach them.
And maybe you're being offended when I'm saying when you don't understand, because you don't understand, because you directly don't understand, and I don't expect you to understand. All I want to transmit to you is that Yahweh chose that culture to give this message. He could not have given it to any other culture. None. Just like that, none other culture, no matter if you defend it or not. The Argentinian culture was the one that Yahweh chose. It was the reason for the power that he has of analysis and the power that he has of advice and the urge that he has to conversate. It's what pleased him. And I don't even know if it was him that created her to get his bride. It's not that he said, which one do I like? Oh, I like this Argentinian. No. I'm going further. He created her that way specifically to have that result. And precisely, it's the country that is, as we shall see it, the glorious land. Very well, very well. Daniel chapter 11 is what I preferred. Very well, very well. Stephen, you deduced it well. Clearly so. The blessed land, the south of America, which is the portal to heaven. The portal to heaven, precisely. It's not by chance, absolutely, it's not by chance. Okay. So then, where was I? Don't compare your dog shit anthem with the anthem. Don't compare. Just don't. Don't piss me off again like that. Oh, look at mine is like this. No, it doesn't talk like it. It's dog shit. Just like that, I tell it to you. It is dog shit. Just like that, completely. It's dog shit. Very well. So then how many are left here? Did they all leave?
They're saying I love it, and that's why I love you.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I said they all left. We have only 2 or 3 Argentinians that are listening.
And the most beautiful thing is that the Argentinian women defend women. They empathize with women. They understand them, comprehend them. They are not at all machista. None whatsoever. You're never going to see them. It's always man's fault.
Exactly. They're not going to see that anywhere else.
And how beautiful it is, because now I see how Yahweh chose things for a bride like that, because that bride will defend the whole rest of humanity.
If you didn't hear what Leslie said, it's impressive. The Latin woman always hates other women, and they try to call the attention from the other's husband. If she has to give them something, she give the other woman's husband. Maybe it's not a time to teach this, but the Argentinian woman isn't like that. She will always get on the side of the woman, always on the side of the woman of the other woman. Let's see if you understand. Well, maybe you didn't understand. Leslie can explain it better than I do. But I recommend that you watch this so that you can see the Argentinian culture from this guy's videos, and there's many other ones that are from Spaniards that are in love with Argentina, Too bad for the economy that Argentina has, obviously. An economy that brings violence, crime, I mean, you can't deny it. But why? Why do they have so much punishment in Argentina? Is because Babylon is against that culture, brutally so against that culture. But already, I think things are going to turn around in the most opportune moment. Farewell.
More than anything, it's prophetic.
That's what I'm saying. It's prophetic. You can get upset. You cannot understand. But, I mean, that's your problem. That is your problem. 20. And they shall bring all your brethren from an offering unto the Lord out of all the nations, upon horses, and in chariots, and in litters, and upon mules, and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain Jerusalem. That holy mountain Jerusalem, read it directly, to my bride, to my Argentinian bride, the sons of Elohim. Saith Yahweh, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of Yahweh. So then they will all bring, absolutely the whole world will be the center. It'll be the new Zion. The new Zion will be the center of the world. Very well. It doesn't say anything else in this text. I'll read it in the Spanish DHH. It says, and they shall call unto all your compatriots from all the nations, in horses, chariots, litters, mules, and camels. It'll be an offering unto me in Jerusalem, my holy mountain. As the offerings that in clean vessels the Israelites come to my temple, I, the Lord, have said it. I've said it. What does this mean? What I've already said. It doesn't mean that they're going to bring it literally to that Jerusalem over there. Obviously not. But rather it means that they will call the attention. They will learn. They will comprehend that the children, Elohim, are the bride of Yahweh, and it's the capital of the world. That is what they will understand. The whole rest of it, it's all poetic words that they're going to bring everybody to the new capital, and that could be like that too, clearly. 21. And I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, but of course, for Kohanim and Levites, saith Yahweh, even those people that are not Israelite, that are whomever, he says that he's going to take from them as Kohanim. But of course, Revelation says that, Revelation 26 says, and blessed is he that hath part in the first resurrection, and the second death has no power over them, but rather that they will be Kohanim, priests. I use that word so you understand. Priests of God and of Christ. Two people. Christ is the bride. Christ is the eternal truth. Christ is the sons of Elohim, and God is Yahweh. Yahweh, the creator, because Christ is part of Yahweh, because Yahweh means he and she. Of course, the government of he and she, Yahweh, it's the maximum power and its maximum expression. The name is he and she, the government of the creator and his bride. But of course, that's why I'm referring to Yahweh the creator. Yahweh the creator says that they shall be going in of whom? Of the creator Yahweh and of Christ. Why of Christ? Because he refers to the husband and the wife. So then they shall be taken as priests. I'll read it like this because people don't understand Kohanim, the Hebrew word that also I don't even like it because the Hebrew is dog shit. I'll see it again. The Hebrew is dog shit. Terrible dog shit. Hebrew is. Okay, so then it says that it'll be those people will be brought. They will be brought, and they will be Kohanim. I shall take also from them to be Kohanim, priests and Levites, saith Yahweh. 22. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make shall remain before me, saith the Lord. This is something spectacular. Already now comes the end of the prophecy. Yahweh says that he will make a new heaven and a new earth. Which is the new earth? It's a new earth? No, renewed. We're going to renew it ourselves. There's the earth. It's just that it'll be a little bit in a bad way, and we'll renew it. It'll be a new one, brand new. And the heavens will break. The heavens are dog shit. These heavens that we see now are dog shit. We are enclosed in these heavens, and these heavens have to be renewed. And I mean with a new technology, because the earth will be greater. That's why also it'll be new, because the earth will be united with heaven, and the earth will fall. Now the earth has 4 columns, it says, and I believe it, has 4 columns that are hold it from heaven. Heaven is below, not above. Actually, to look for heaven, you'd have to look down. I understand that the part above is part of heaven, because heaven is like this whole table, but if this is upon 4 columns, then heaven, the physical heaven, is lower than the level of the earth, because we are standing in 4 columns upon heaven. Now those 4 columns will break. The scripture says, many prophecies that I've read, they will be broken down and the earth will fall. And when the earth falls, it says it'll be the greatest earthquake that has ever happened in all of the earth. So then, on that day on, it'll be united to heaven. Of course, with that we have to reconstruct the earth. That's why it'll be renewed. We'll rebuild it, and it'll be joined with heaven. We'll take the barriers down, but this heaven is limiting. This heaven has to be an absolutely new heaven. It has to be broken completely, and you have to see the heaven of the heaven. In other words, heaven is everything, and heaven has a new heaven, or else Yahweh will make a new heaven. Exactly. What does the text say? For as the new heavens, it's these will be completely new. This will break and fall. It is a limiting dome because we are enclosed. So then now comes the freedom. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew had to earn, because as the new heavens and the new earth that I make remain before me, saith Yahweh, so shall your descendant remain in your name. Whose name? The name of the group, the liberator of the earth, the name of the judges. But of course, because they obtained the earth as an eternal inheritance, they are the supreme saints. They will rule the world forever. In other prophecies, it is very clear they receive dominion, power, and glory. Eternal, forever. Look at what it says in the Spanish DHH in text number 22. It says, also the Lord affirms, Yahweh, just as the new heaven and the new earth that I will create will remain forever, so shall your seed and your name remain. That name is your power, your dominion. And here comes a text that the Christians don't like to read ever. The Adventists love it. They love it. And the Christians, I don't know what they think about this text. 23. And from a new moon to a new moon, and from Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. Well, what do you mean from a day of rest? If you're a Catholic or whatever other Christian, they say, what's the day of rest? Sunday. So we'll come from Sunday to Sunday. Is not what the scripture says. Scripture says Shabbat. Shabbat is the name of a day. Shabbat is rest, name of a day. Look what the Spanish teacher says. And from every month, the day of the new moon. Oh, when does the month start? In the new moon. But of course, it doesn't start whenever you want. It starts when you see the new moon. And every week on Sabbath, all men, how many men? All men shall come to bow down before me. I, the Lord, have said it. Yahweh wants for them to worship him and his bride. No. I mean, this is just so that people understand what worship is. I'm sure that there's going to be spectacular service every Shabbat. In my mind, right? I cannot understand, nor do I accept that all the multitudes of the world can gather together in one day every week. My mind says, no, there's something else here, but the way it was written in this way, you could not understand it. I personally believe, but I could be wrong. I mean, I could care less. I personally believe that the Bible, when it talks about in this time, there's another way to say it, when Yahweh says it, that all the people will gather together. They can do so perfectly right via internet. So then from Jerusalem, Yahweh makes a service with his bride of Shabbat that should be spectacular, precious, something fun and precious. And the whole world can see it as if they were there live with a super gigantic screen. See it live. It's as if they would be there directly. Or else just imagine billions and billions of people all together. Right now we've got 8,000 million, if it's true what they say, and all the people that are dead, they couldn't even see Yahweh, not even close. Just imagine. If we have 6 million in Argentina, they can't even come close. Just imagine 8 billion, 10 billion people. One is to get together where, another, if they were to get together, they could never see those that are gathered together. Do you understand? It's a lot easier for the whole people in the world, just like you do it. We gather together every Shabbat or not? If Isaiah would have to say there will be a group that will gather together every Shabbat in Riverside, for example, every Shabbat. And the people would understand that the whole world would come and gather here. And now the whole world, they all have to tune in. And with our technology that we're going to advance it even more, we're going to have 3D, holographic, that it exists, we're going to get it even better. So then the whole world will see Yahweh and his bride or whatever, the whole gathering in a holographic way, enormous. If I have a 150-inch TV, I don't want one little like this. I bought one like this, then 22 inches. Then I said, oh, nice. What about 40? And Leslie said, I want something bigger. I want Something a little bigger, I'm already tired. Okay, 70 inches. You see how nice? I'm already tired. What can I get? 150? Is that enough? Yeah, Leslie said we can maybe later. I want 200 kilometers. I don't know. And the tip that Leslie likes right now is 150 inches. So then with that, it takes over the whole garden wide. That's what we like. Right, of course, because the technology will augment. So then just imagine if we have time to have new technology, new Earth. So then we're going to be able to see all kinds of things, concerts, all kinds of things, but in a holographic way. You're going to think that you're seeing it there live and you're not there. It's holographical. If that already exists, if we better that technology to a level that you could almost touch it, and I'm not talking about with goggles or anything, but real. You understand, right? Okay. So then if Isaiah would have to write about us, he says, in the group of the eternal truth will gather together from people from the whole world every Shabbat in Riverside. He'd be talking about the same thing. So then, what's it say? And from 1 month to another, and from one day of rest to another day of rest, from Shabbat to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me. Exactly that before me, it's before the screen. You understand what I'm saying, right? Clearly, that is how I understand. Because you know what trouble it is to travel every Shabbat, and the earth will be bigger and bigger every time. I mean, it'll be such a disaster. You see it on the screen like it's a 3D, but of course, who has said this before? No one. He won't understand shit. He said, then Yahweh said.
And it doesn't have to be an actual hard TV.
That's right, I'm getting at 3D. A hologram.
Because people are going to understand that it's an actual TV, but no, it's a screen that you roll up.
If you understood that it's a TV, you misunderstood. I said a screen. Defined it wrong. A screen, it could be a hard screen, or it could be something else. It's a projector, of course. You can take it camping and outside. It's a garden. They know what a projector is. So then, it's fantastic to have a projector. Of course, and I could even make it even bigger than 150. My screen's 150. If I had a bigger wall, I'd make it even better. To see myself even better, someone would say. To see something that I'm interested in better. Very well. So then, it is defined that every Shabbat the people will tune into a service like this one, and a service of a lot higher quality, and the people will love it. That's spectacular. How many of you had thought about this, that it'll be so? And from 1 month to another, and from one day of Shabbat, shall all come and worship before me, saith Yahweh. And here comes the last text. We got to the last text. And it's a text, but of course, I'll explain it because no one understands this. Of course, absolutely, of course. And I know that we've got 256. How many dislikes do we have? Two Mexicans put a dislike.
Some did enter there and they were saying that you were saying too many bad words.
I'll have them fuck off. Maybe I didn't say enough.
Some other guys there questioning about who knows what other things.
Argentinism. It's very likely. Exactly. Starting with the champion of the world. The penalties, they say they gave you the penalties. They're going to protest with everything. What about the penalties that they didn't give us in other World Cups? They're going to protest about everything, but it doesn't matter. The dogs can bark. How many likes do we have? We have more likes than those watching me. So then I thank you. 332 likes against 287 watching. It's very good with other accounts that entered. Oh, that's good. So then I will give you the last text in order to wrap up today. Look how beautiful day. How many missed out on eating some delicious hamburgers? The sun came out. It's precious. I mean, it's enough to go to the beach. Spectacular. Wow, it's nice. Okay, it's nice. Many are stuck there in the snow. Wow. Some delicious hamburgers. One that has, it's the big ones, those are, that have half a bread.
Angus.
of the best quality beef, Angus, and every burger is half a bread. You've never seen something so ridiculous. Half a bread, it's how many grams? 200? It's like 250 grams. Yeah, half a pound, 250 grams every hamburger. Generally, a hamburger has less than 1/4 of a pound. You have the quarter pounders, the big ones. This one's half a pound. So then in two, you have 1 pound of meat. Wow, brutal. The type of... Oh, no. They're very, very good. They're a beast. They're just a beast. Very well. Last text. But this text is enough to talk about a lot, that about the whole world believes that Sunday actually replaces Sabbath. No, all days annulled. Yes, that's clear. The Torah is annulled. But that doesn't mean that the Sabbath is the prophetic day and it'll continue to be fulfilled. The Torah is annulled, yes. And why do we keep the Shabbat? Because the Shabbat represents the 7th millennium. The 7th millennium has the name of rest. It's when the earth will rest, when the earth will be rebuilt. Rest from what? From injustice, from wickedness, because the children of Elohim will reign in Yahweh. So then, that does not take away that it'll always be the day of rest and the day of remainder of the 7th millennium. So then this prophecy says every Shabbat will be eternal. I'll keep it today and for all eternity with pleasure. Every Shabbat, people will tune in the program of heaven. I'll say it, which is that the Bride of Yahweh, the program that the Bride of Yahweh will have every Shabbat, and it'll be spectacular. It's not just a gathering with a little song, let's worship Yahweh. No, nothing to do with that fact. It'll be like a movie. I don't know, something incredible. We're going to have a team of a production for every Shabbat. It'll be something like a new movie every Shabbat. It's not the worship that you're used to. It's kind of like listening to me. It's fun listening to me. It could get you upset, give you a stomachache or whatever. But if it's fun, it's fun. It's not like going to a filthy church, pray and worship. No. It'll be a phenomenal... People will be like, it's Shabbat, it's coming, like the final of the world per se. It'll be even more fun than that. So then it'll be a very good programming, the bride next to Yahweh, that will transmit live every Shabbat. Incredible. That's what worship is. You're going to love Yahweh and his bride. They're going to love him like you love a lot more than a soccer team, than anything. That's what the people will be waiting. They're going to worship that program. You see, when you say, I love that program, I don't know, whatever. Breaking Bad, for example. It's a masterpiece, but you cannot apply it here. But for those that like Breaking Bad, for example, it says, wow, I have to see another chapter, and I have to see another chapter, and I have to binge it. And you say, I worship that series. It's dog shit. I know that it's a masterpiece, one of the best ones that have ever been done. But it's still dog shit. What teaching does that leave you? Heisenberg. What teaching do you get from that? What teaching do you get? But that it made you laugh. It entertained you. But you can say, I worship that series. Well, that is the adoration that the entire world will have Yahweh and his bride. They will be waiting for the spectacle, well said. The spectacle that Yahweh and his bride will give every Shabbat. That's what it says. And from month to month, and not just the Shabbat, but when the year begins, another spectacle that we're going to give. Maybe we'll make a spectacle in heaven also. Right, I mean, brutal. I have ideas extra because I'm Argentinian. I mean, let them get upset. And from 1 month to another, and from one day of rest into another day of rest, from Shabbat to another, and every new moon shall everyone come to see the adorable program that Yahweh and his bride will give. That's what the text says. They will see something marvelous, not boring, something that they're going to be waiting for to see when, wow, magnificent. You think that Yahweh and the bride have power to entertain all of humanity? But of course, We'll have music concerts, reggaeton. No, not reggaeton. Of course not. We're going to have something phenomenal. Phenomenal. Your mind cannot understand yet what it'll be. Even the new screens we'll have, you could even take things out. Maybe we'll give things away. We'll give rings away. We'll give jewels away. And the people, oh, today we have a new jewel for all of them, and they're going to receive something. That is what worship is. See? I tell you this so that you understand, and I tell you, and we say to the whole world, and today we're going to give you to taste new fruit. A new fruit that never in the world has ever seen, that Yahweh has been designing it. We tried it and we liked it, and here it goes. And through the screen, and everybody can grab it like this. Everyone, wow. You have to open your mind that it's so bad right now. You thought that the whole world, oh, we're going to worship Yahweh, kneeling, worship art thou Yahweh, you're holy, 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 and everything. And everyone worshiping, and they would throw their crowns and said, with such a joy singing, oh, glory, 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 and everybody worship Yahweh. And of course, that right there would be awful. Even more boring than to suck on a nail. No, that is complete boredom. No, this will be marvelous, absolutely marvelous. And I tell you these scenes because you're going to understand how marvelous it is. It'll be the most phenomenal day of the week. Saturday, and the Saturday comes in as a surprise of Yahweh to his humanity, to his children, in charge of him and his bride. Wow, there's going to be gifts, music, you're going to see movies, all types of things, absolutely everything. But there's something else. We're going to go to the very last text. And they shall go forth, so then after the ceremony that they will have, there's something else. And they shall go forth and shall see the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, saith Yahweh. Saith Yahweh, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be abhorring unto all flesh. But that's not fun at all. They say, to top it off, that we're going to go worship and say, so holy, holy, holy. Thank you for your blood and blah, blah, blah. And worship. On top of that, to top it off, you make us see carcasses of men that transgressed against thee. You're still pissed. That rebel against thee, because their worm shall never die, nor their fire be quenched, and they'll be abhorring every Shabbat. We have to see that. To top it off, that we come to worship you boringly. We have to go to that filth and be terrified. That's what heaven is. Yahweh, that's what heaven is, that you promised it to us. You have to do this every Shabbat and every new moon. Wow. It's better to go to hell. This is horrible. Look at how the Spanish DHH says, before I explain. Spanish DHH says, and they shall come and see the bodies of the men that rebelled against me. The worms that eat them shall not die, and the fire that devours them shall not be quenched. They shall be something repugnant for all humanity. And that's how Isaiah ends. What does this mean? This is very easy, very easy. It's precisely, the scripture is concealed. What does it mean? I'm going to tell you what this is. This is, nevertheless, a virtual world to see the history of humanity. Once you go into that world with such a technology that Isaiah doesn't know about and Yahweh cannot reveal, it means that we're going to be able to submerge ourselves in some point in time, in Shabbat, for example, submerge ourselves into the history of humanity, that it's all filth. It's all filth. What it means is that the worm never dies, is because everything will be so real. These 6,000 years, you're going to be able to see the history of all the deceit, of the murders, of all the blasphemy, all the dog shit we did for 6,000 years, of the men, all that rebel against him. But you'll be able to almost see and smell and see and watch in a way not from a TV. That's why it says precisely, it says, and they shall go forth and see the bodies of the men that rebelled against me. What are the bodies? This is all concealed. It's the history of humanity. Every person will have to see what the injustice and wickedness does. And they will see, of course, it's kind of like 6,000 years of history, but the history of 6,000 years in one place. When you want to see the history of every place, you're going to be able to see it, and you can see from all the people that rebelled against him, supposedly. But that's the way they say it. How can I say this so that you understand it? You're going to enter into a world where you're going to see the history of all humanity, of all the sins, of the injustices of humanity, so that you learn and why we don't do them now, and where that takes you to. And you'll be able to see that whole history, that you won't miss anything. The deceits of the governments, of medicine, the deceits of the religious people, of science, of your mother, the deceits of the pastors, the deceits of the Bible itself, the deceits of Yahweh, everything. Every crime that's unsolved and those that we think that are solved. Exactly. Every unsolved crime, every story, it'll be something fabulous. That's why it says that will never be quenched, because it's something that you'll be able to. It's our history. What did we do in 6,000 years and what it was good for? Because if this were to be lost, it was no good. It cannot be lost. Now, I'm going to use the words of Yeshua. Not a tittle, not a comma, nor a jot can be changed from the history of the world. Never again. You're going to be able to see it as if you were being a part of history. You'll be able to see it with your own eyes, and you'll be able to see it every Shabbat. This is what it explains. Maybe you can see it for a lot longer, since we'll be busy the rest of the week. Every Shabbat, we'll use it for fun and so also a historical part of the earth. That's all that his scripture says. Who understands this? No one. Absolutely no one. The whole world sees this as something terrifying. After being kneeling, worshiping God, you have to go out into the terrifying museum. No, it's not the Museum of Terror. It is our history. Spectacular. That we'll love of why we're no longer that way, of why we act that way, all the unsolved crimes, all the deceits of humanity. It'll be fantastic, absolutely fantastic. What would seem a note that's horrible of terror, no, it must be completely entertaining in order to learn. A true history, not the one that they tell us, a true one with a technology that we don't even understand. So then, we're done. Isaiah 66 in relation to Bethuwlah. We're going to continue to study next Shabbat. We're going to go into Revelation chapter. We're going to enter to chapter 10 of Revelation. That is related completely with Bethuwlah. That's what we're studying it, but I'm not going to call it Bethuwlah anymore. The name of Bethuwlah is out. You know that it's Bethuwlah, but the name of Bethuwlah is on its way out. It'll be called, if I can't remember, I'm going to call it Revelation 17:20. I think I'll call it the Witnesses. I like it. The Witnesses. If I change the name, oh well, I'm sorry. But for now, it'll be called the Witnesses. The Witnesses 1, because it'll be many chapters. So then, without any further ado, let us wrap up with a word of prayer. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks because you opened the scripture in a way that's incredible. We could understand it by taking out the seals, the covering, all the secrets that you want for us to have. We could read them because we are your kings, because we are your children, because we are your bride. We're waiting for these dates, wishing wholeheartedly that it's the dates, because we desire to reign and live with you, to rebuild this earth, and to fulfill this whole prophecy, to grab every person and sit them in our lap and teach them that they see your glory, that they understand your glory, that they comprehend your glory. And we desire fervently that this be in this next year that is soon to begin. All this I thank you for in your precious name, Yahweh Sebaot, Yeshua HaMashiach, Alleluia. Semper Fi. Very good side. Yeah, that you said it right away. Semper Fi. Long live the children of Elohim. Today we don't have a lot to applaud, but Miguel is here yelling, "Long live the Argentinian bride of Yahweh, Semper Fi to every one of you, Yeshua reigns. Alleluia to every one of you. If the Lord allows it, we shall meet again next Shabbat. Alleluia to every one of you."